there's beef jerky, but the animation for it is you drink it. You take the thing off and then you're like, but it's beef jerky. It's so...
I hate it so much. Actually, that whatever the opposite of like ASMR is, like that hurts my soul, dude.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast, a show dedicated to talking about all the progress things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I am one of your co-hosts, Juicy Kazoom.
And I'm Veritus. I got
your top V.
The top V. Yeah,
that's my favorite new nickname.
Top V. Man, what was that? Was that from like a chatter or something?
Yeah,
during the podcast?
Yeah. We were talking about you wanting to debate and how you were going to get red pilled, and then someone was
right.
Top V.
God almighty, dude.
Oh, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Today was interesting. I was like, so I played day one of the wipe.
Okay.
I wasn't going to. Yeah. Well,
yeah. We'll get to that.
I was playing Arena and I was having a lot of fun with Arena. And I don't remember, something happened, couldn't really get into any games. I'm like, all right, I'll just go play Tarkov.
Yeah.
And I played for like 45 minutes. The new map was like cool for what I played like 3 raids. Okay. Ended up getting like owned by some like 3-man groups.
Yeah.
And I just like brought in all my gear. So like lost all the decent guns with like the, you know, the dots and
of
all
course.
The stuff you get to start.
Yeah.
And then after like 45 minutes, I was like, man, I really just like don't want to do any of the quests.
Yep.
Like I didn't. So here's what I wasn't interested in. I wasn't interested in pulling up a wiki, pulling up a map.
Yeah.
Having to look at a website to figure out what to do. Right. Like
no,
I wanted to play.
You.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna go back to Arena.
Yeah.
The recoil felt incredible, and I was like, I really hope they bring it to Arena soon. And it was like the next day,
dude, that was crazy. Yeah.
And it was like night and day, dude. Like the first game I went 10-4. The next game I went 14-4.
Yeah.
With like my RSAS kit, and it was incredible. And ever since, Arena felt really good. Today, you know, everybody was on the drops train.
Yeah.
And I'm like 2,800, 2,900 elo. So if I solo queue, all the streamers are playing normal Tarkov.
Yeah.
So I will wait for 20 minutes before I'll get in an Arena game. It's like, what's the point of Arena if I can't just get in? But when I queue with 4 or 5 other people, the queue time is 1 second.
Yep.
I press queue.
Because it's like at that high, it's like 98% 5-mans. So when you have a 5-man, it's just like 5-man, boom. But when you're a solo, it's like.
But that's the thing, is that like I'm queuing up with the first 4 randos in my chat that I can get in.
Yeah.
And so some of them are 1,400 elo.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm facing like hodgepodges. Every other game, it's like sometimes they're D minuses and sometimes they're B
That's
pluses.
Fascinating.
I think one of the guys I played against today was one of the VP dudes.
Oh yeah, we played against them. I might have been with you. 1 or 2 of the Verse Pro guys was on there.
Yeah. But was sick of waiting. Jumped on to do into Tarkov. First thing, I'm like, all right, cool. Let's do a scav run. My scav's got a Pilgrim. 15-minute. Can't get into a game.
Yep.
Back out of the queue. Go do a raid. I had a couple of good raids. I had a really good raid on Interchange. Got a 3-man. It was like waited, 1 go by, 2 go by, you know, and killed all 3 of them. By the time I lost both my legs, my stomach, my arms. Of course, I'm like, take 7 billion years to heal.
Yeah.
And then a 3-man player scav, like 5 minutes into Interchange, come right to me.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit salty about that. I feels like it was the same dudes.
Could have even have been the same dudes. Yeah.
It was a little tight time-wise, but that was frustrating. And then basically I've just been doing, I grab like an M9 and I go to a factory. Yeah. And like my last raid, I just clear factory with the pistol, and that's like the only fun I've been having. Yeah. Because I hate waiting. I haven't done a scav run today. Not a single. I haven't been able to.
There's so much to get through in there. But yeah, it's it's been interesting. That the scavving thing, like we'll get to more chronological stuff in a second, but the scavving thing is so interesting. We were just talking about that a lot. People all day. And this isn't a surprise to me because this is like the 5th wipe in a row. So this is literal years of this happening. But all day people are like, dude, scav rate queues, scav rate queues, scav rate queues. They take so long. And there's 2 things that play there. One, I have a suspicion that at any given moment, more players are attempting to scav into a raid than PMC. Like, I just think early wipe, everybody, you know, scavving is the free stuff. You want the quest items. You have the most to lose. So a lot of people are scavving. And it's one of those things where the math doesn't always check out, right? If there's more people scavving and less people PMCing, you need active PMC raids in order to scav in. So, you know, you're going to wait. But
you would think that would favor solo scavs.
But that's the thing. Here's the second part of that. So on one hand, scav queues take a long time. That's understandable because it's early wipe. The flip side of that is, I don't know why, but it's as close to empirical evidence as possible that grouping gets you in quicker. And I don't know what the logic is behind it. Because this is like we've said, we've talked about it every wipe. This is like wipe 5 where this has happened, where if you solo queue a scav raid, you're going to be waiting 27 minutes. But if me, Valiant, and Airwing scav one, we're in 4.
Yep.
I don't know why.
And the same thing happens with Arena as well. And again, if you think about like Arena even has matchmaking and it's the same thing. Like there's some logic where they prioritize it. There has to be. There has to be.
It's wild because especially with the player scav thing, everything, like, I can't think of a single reason you wouldn't want the opposite. It's more fun to fight solo player scavs than groups of 5 player scavs, right? It's the solo player scavs are most likely people who are playing solo. So you want to almost give them a bone because in their PMC raids, they're probably running up into PMC squads. So it's like everything goes in the favor of like, let the solos in quick. You know what I mean? As somebody who almost exclusively plays with other people, I really wouldn't mind if that switch was made. If it takes me longer to get into a raid as a 3-man and get into a scav raid than the solos.
Yeah, like you would think just like spitballing a queuing algorithm. If there's, let's say, 5 slots available, you would think that it's easier to find 5 individuals to plop in there than it is to find, like, once you find a 3, then you need to look for only a 2, right? As opposed to, like, I don't know.
And you'd think it would just always find a group and then fill the rest with solos, right? 3, 1, 1. You know, like you just find a 4-man, get 1 solo in. Find a 2-man, get 3. Like, you just think it would be easier to constantly fill with the solos because there's so many people attempting to solo. So I don't know what that logic is, but yeah, I definitely see that's frustrating. Now, to get into it. So we had the wipe. It was classic, like they debated us on every step of it. Remember I told you, like, they were like in the weird video with the cat guy during the event, it was like the 26th. Like they super alluded to something. It was like, you know, learn to see what people hear. People put in, it was like 12/26. Nothing happened on the 26th. Nothing that I can remember. And so then everybody went, okay, well, if it's not the 26th, it has to be the 28th because the 28th is a Thursday. And it ended up being the 27th. So they didn't do the thing they debated us into, and they didn't do the Thursday meme. They did it right in the middle, and they did it on the 27th, which I found to be hilarious. So before we get into the patch notes, man, I just want to, like, right off the rip, be like, I'm so, because we have to talk about it or else people are going to be so mad. And it was super brutal. The rollout of the wipe, man, was so rough. And it's so brutal because we'll talk about each of the features. In my opinion, this is one of, if not the greatest Tarkov wipes we've ever had.
Objectively.
This is top 2, top 3 greatest Tarkov wipes ever. And I'm seeing that sentiment from like Giga Chad W keyers and from like slow tactical realism guys. Like everybody loves this. But it was so shrouded by like the problems in the beginning. And
plus with this, the arena drama leading up to it, that led everybody salty.
Yes, everybody was on peak, like on the precipice of being salty and super frustrated because of how bad, which once again, like we talked about, objectively bad the launch of Arena was, right? This comes around now. What I'm expecting is, and it's obviously we've heard in chat, people have been vacillating everywhere in between, like this is inexcusable, BSG is such a joke, to like, come on, what do you expect? And I get all of the opinions within then. I will say what I would normally expect is what we get every wipe, which is everybody gets in, and as a result of that, we get some crashes, we get some long queue times, matchmaking into a PMC raid, maybe taking 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. That's what I expected. What I didn't expect is the same thing that happened in Arena, where you weren't even allowed, like most of the people weren't even allowed in. Like the patch hit, me and Seal and Velian were supposed to play. Me and Seal started downloading the patch immediately, and Velian just sat twiddling his thumbs for 2 hours looking at the launcher, and he couldn't update. And then 2 hours sounds like a long time. That turned out to be nothing compared to some of the people in my chat 8 hours later, 10 hours later, 12 hours later, being like, I can't download the patch. So I understand the people who were like, well, it's a Tarkov wipe. What do you expect? I get that. But what I expected was already low, and it was really brutal. The fact that people weren't allowed in, the fact that people couldn't download for forever, the fact that the launcher was having issues. If you were in the game, as long as you didn't close the game, you could play perfectly fine. Frames were good, no crashes, no everything. But
the launcher, 45 minutes to play today.
Yeah, the launcher just wasn't working. So like, I do have high praise to say for a lot of these features, but I do feel like we got to start off with like, that's rough. It just clouded the whole thing. You know what I mean? What would have just been W after W after W. It's just so hard when you, and then once again, it started rolling again, like streamer privilege, which once again, I understood because I'm playing and you're not. So it's like, I get it. That just happened with Arena, and it just muddied the waters of what would have been such a W of a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
brutal.
And here's the saddest part too, is this whole, like, what do you expect, BSG, that sentiment on one side, and the other side is like, they'll iron it out.
Yeah.
I can't take like either of those things, like either of them seriously.
Yeah.
They both are just like cringeworthy, because by the time they figure it out, they won't be making any more updates, and the game will be out and it'll be done, and it won't matter anymore, because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, we're 95% of the way through the development, and the releases are always, so at this point I'm like, they're just always going to be, like, it just makes me more like bitter.
Yeah.
It's like, well, every other thing from now on is just going to be, and and for some people it's than others. Some people got it right away. They could install it right away, and they had no problems. And some people are like still trying to play now, and they can't. Right? Like even today, again, I played a little bit yesterday. Today I went to play. Every time I hit play, it would just escape from Tarkov, quit working. Yeah. And I had to like basically do a clear, fresh install of the goddamn thing to get it working. Yeah. There's so much. Yeah. So much. It was
brutal. It was brutal. And like you said, both ends of the spectrum were brutal to hear. You know what I mean? The like, oh, stream privilege, but then also the like, oh my God, why are you mad? It's like, yeah, I don't know. It blows me away that people can't understand that that's a frustrating thing. Like people are like, what'd you expect? Well, it's like, dude, I don't know. Like I expected even by BSG standards for it to be buggy, and it was worse. You know what I mean? So, and then it was brutal because like a lot of people, you want to play together. So like 2 people in the squad get it and 3 people don't. And then it's just like, oh, you know what I mean? Then these guys are, and that just feels bad. You know what I mean? So, especially since I feel like, no, I don't know anything about the technical thing here, and I definitely don't want to sound ignorant or uneducated. Even, I mean, I know I am, so I guess I should sound that way. But it's just crazy because like I feel like they have a decent handle on a rough estimate of how many people are going to play the game. You know what I mean? And so like they've just done so many wipes. I don't know.
Well, one other thing about this is that like I don't know that the number of people is relevant.
Yeah, that's true. I think it was like, just something happened.
Every one of these issues that everybody's talking about, 98% of the comments are the servers are on fire, and it drives me nuts because most of the issues that we experience have nothing to do with the server load.
Everything, if you got in, the game was fine. Like it didn't feel like the servers were desync. It didn't feel like it was taking a long time to match. You know, it was just something with the authenticator or the login. The website was down, and a lot of people experienced this. If they had to reset their password, they needed to wait for an email, but the website was down, so they couldn't get an email to reset their password to log into the launcher, which was buggy to see if they could download it, which some people couldn't. It was like at every step.
So like with Arena, they had an issue where if there was a new version of the game available, remember this? You had to leave. If you left the game and you went and hit check for updates, nothing would happen. But if you closed it, opened it up, it would find the update.
Yeah.
And people were trying to queue up where one of the 5 of them had the new version, the other 4 didn't. One person would get the error. They'd all have to leave. All of that that went on.
Yeah.
But people sat in matching, or they sat with all kinds of, you know, like leaving, trying to leave. And their explanation for everything was, BSG servers are on fire. Why don't they just get more servers with the blah, blah, blah? There's so many people playing, or either there's so many people playing, servers are on fire, or there's nobody playing and the game's dead.
Yeah.
And it's like with Arena, that was one thing on a different day than Arena on another day than Tarkov was yesterday versus Tarkov today. And
I agree.
God, it's just like, if I have to hear servers on fire one more time.
So yeah, it was brutal. I think like if you're one of those like, just if you're just cringing every time someone's frustrated, understand it's a genuinely frustrating thing. But if you take it too far, like once again, it was to ban a bunch of people because they come in and they express this frustration in a way that's weird and toxic and gross and cringe and pointing it towards streamers or weirdly personal on BSG. It's like, okay, you're also weird. Just be frustrated. It was like, it was rough. It was a really rough wipe launch. Now, that being said, that is where, I don't know, most of the negativity stops from me. We'll go through the patch notes and talk through some things. But dude, the TLDR is, we're 3 days in. I've played 10 to 15 hours all 3 days. And I love this wipe so much. I'm interested because I am going to talk about some stuff like I reflect. I don't know if reflect. I share that sentiment though. I want to talk about that later of like, oh yes, I don't want to do these quests. You know what I mean? Like, even though I'm having so much fun, but let's go through the patch notes and talk through some of the stuff. Ground Zero, the map. You said you got to play it a little bit.
I did like 3 raids in it, and like literally I would spawn and I never left like a 30-meter circle. It was like spawn in, see somebody, kill them, go to loot them, you know, get my bearings a little bit, you know, hear some footsteps, go to engage, get shot, rinse and repeat like 3 times. I have no idea where to go. I didn't pull up the wiki, didn't pull up a map. I never even got that far. So I don't know, seems cool. It's honestly, it seems like if you had told me that was the Streets expansion, I would have just assumed that was it.
And that kind of is what it is, right? Because it's located in Streets of Tarkov. Like that's where that is. They just wanted to carve that out as the. So it wasn't engineered strictly to be the tutorial zone, the noob map. A lot of people are calling it that. I mean, it is because you can, you know, you have to be level 20 or below. It's also supposed, like, that's where we're all going to start. In 1.0, everyone starts on ground zero and you have to accomplish tasks and you unlock the next map. And like they've said that before, that you have to quest through the maps. Then when you unlock them all, you can keep questing and doing stuff, and then you can eventually escape Tarkov. So it's also the starting map. So it's not exclusively. Now, I think that, you know, surprise to no one, their map design is great. It's immersive. It's really cool. There's some touches. There's some really cool touches because in the patch notes here, it says that this is where the original conflict began. Did you notice all over the place? You know how like all over Tarkov, there's like the dead scavs and you can loot them? Did you notice all over the place, it's dead PMCs?
I never saw one.
All over, like puffy jacket, like all of the, and there's like 8 different outfits of the clothing you can get as a USEC. And you can loot them. And like the first one I looted had a 60 round M4 mag on it. So I don't think it's that common to find that stuff, but I think it's skewed a little bit more towards like military loot on them.
That's
so
neat.
Like little touches like that are cool. Surprise to no one, their map design is amazing. Their environmental team is cool. It's a pretty small map, which is what we expected. Also, I doubt you saw these either. All over the map are maps. You know, you walk up into a shopping mall and there's a kiosk thing and it says you are here. They're all over Ground Zero. And it literally
was with a little dot.
Yes. It's
That's
cool.
sick.
And so I checked my extract and one of the extracts was like Nagatani Plaza.
They make that at interchange, dude.
Yes.
It even makes sense.
Yeah. And one of the extracts is like Nagatani basement stairs. And then I walked up to the sign and I saw the building in the southeast corner is called Nagatani. So I was like, I bet the extract's over there. And we went and I found it. And so I was like, okay, this is sick. Like, this is cool. This feels friendlier
awesome.
to new players. You know what I mean? And then there's 4 or 5 new quests on there. The new quests were pretty cool. They weren't too bad. One was just like take the car extract, which kind of shows you that you can take car extracts. There's a flare extract there with a scav that always spawns with a green flare, which is kind of cool because once again, the theory here is like teaching people some of the interactions and stuff like that. That's cool.
Wait, the scav spawns with a green?
There's a dead scav that spawns with a green.
A dead scav.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I've been away for a while. And do I walk up and engage in like a dialogue tree with a scav? Like
handshake with him. Yeah, dude. So it's cool. I will say, it has some things I would change if we're aiming at this being like a more beginner friendly map. There is a spawn where you can spawn in, and if you take 3 steps forward, you hit a mine. Literally 3 steps, which I think is brutal.
I watched a little bit of the little podcast.
Oh, today, yeah.
I clicked into the VOD afterwards, and literally I started playing, and all Nikita says was, "God help us." It was the first thing, and I'm like, well. True. But he was talking about the map and he was saying they added those mines without telling him. And when he heard, he was like, oh, like that's not good. He's like, that's not very new player friendly. And I'm assuming he's probably like, but that's Tarkov.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
committed to the bit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But the big one is there's a in the bank. There's an open door and like a safe in one of the teller things. And you know how there's 2 types of landmines in Tarkov? There's the landmines that you can hit and they break your leg. And then there's the claymores on streets that instant kill you.
I've only experienced the claymores on Lighthouse. I thought they were
correct. They added them on Lighthouse first, then they added them on streets outside of Lexos. And
those raids,
and there's a random room in the bank in Ground Zero, and it's an open door, and there's a safe in it, and you walk up to it, and there's a claymore in it, and it just kills you.
An instant kill.
Instant kill.
Yeah, that's.
I was like,
stupid.
I was like, that's so dumb, dude.
It's like hilarious. Like, do that for an event for 1 day, and then also if you die to that, there should be a flag that's like you get your gear back.
Yeah, dude, or something
you know
like
I mean?
that. Like if
it's
it's gonna be a meme,
then it would be funny. Otherwise, it's just brain dead.
I was like, dude, that's lame. Anyways, other than that, I mean, I think the map is cool. The only thing, so the 2 things, one thing I would change, and I think there's too many spawns. I think there's too many PMCs on the map. Like the experience you had is the experience I had. It's the experience everybody's had. I've had a lot of people be like, dude, Ground Zero is not factory. Ground Zero is factory plus. Ground Zero is factory plus outside. It's a super small map, and I think there's 12 people that can spawn max. It's too many. It
sounded like he was considering reducing the number of spawns.
Yeah, I spawned in and literally just rounded a corner, and there was a PMC right there, and I killed him. So, yeah, I think. I mean, I think it's funny because you and me have talked about how, in general, across all the maps, you know, Tarkov might feel better if there were 10 to 15 less PMCs, but especially on the map that's about maybe like introducing you to the Tarkov experience. Not getting the factory forklift experience every raid, which seems like every spawn on Ground Zero is the factory forklift experience, would probably be a good thing. I think there's a max of 12. I think 6 to 8.
It should be 6.
I think 6 to 8 would be much better. Now,
and he's also changing it. I think, I don't know if it's in yet, where there'll be 2 queues.
Yes, that was the thing. So on the patch notes, it said level 1 to 20, and then over 20 you can't get in. But apparently on the podcast today, yeah, he said they're going to reduce that to 15 and then create a separate queue. So you can go to Ground Zero all the time, but if you're 16 or above, you just queue in with everybody else. Which I think is cool because the map is cool, and genuinely above 16, I think that map will end up being like Factory Plus. It'll just be an outside map to like spawn in and get into super aggressive PvP right off the rip, which would be kind of fun. So, so Ground Zero is cool. Oh, and the other thing about Ground Zero is everyone's like, it's not a beginner map, and I was like, well, the thing you have to realize is no one in Tarkov for the first 2 days was level 20 or above. So it's like, people, I had a lot of people be like, dude, I keep running into Chads on Ground Zero. It's like, I get it. I'm not saying stop playing. I'm just saying, like, in a week, it'll be much more noob friendly, right? Because but you know, everyone, Landmark, Pestily, Rengar, me, everyone's on Ground Zero because it's the new map. It's not very new friendly at first. But if you come in 2 months into a wipe, that's going to be a great place to go. You know what I mean?
Assuming, now, I mean, this is probably true, but it might not be true to a meaningful degree that's the case. So like, think about this. The whole idea where it's like, if there's a limited number of items available to put on the flea market, then that should control the price and blah, blah, blah. But if you think about that, you always have like an infinite supply. There's effectively an infinite number of like most items. There's just, you know, so many. I feel like the same kind of principle applies where there probably will always be veteran players starting at any given time between level 1 to 15 throughout the course of the next year, you know, or 3 months or whatever, playing this wipe, that there will always be a couple of veterans in there that will always dominate every lobby. So I'm not sure.
I understand.
It could be the case that it's that
I understand what you're saying. I don't think the pendulum will ever swing to 0. Like the ratio of Timmy to veteran will ever swing to 0 veterans, all Timmys. But I would, because someone said in chat too, will streamers reset their account? I bet if you add up every veteran that comes in late wipe and every streamer that resets their account, you smash them together, and the percentage of people that are playing at that given moment, that'll be like 10%. Whereas I would say day 1, 2, 3 of the wipe, the percentage of people that have played before that are excited to hop back in versus new players, it's like 70-30. So, so my guess is you're absolutely right. There will always be people that had reset your account. You'll always be veterans that were like, yo, you know what? I'm going to check out Tarkov now. But I just think that ratio will swing so far. I'm not saying it'll feel perfect. I'm saying it'll feel better than it does on day 2 of the wipe.
Maybe. We'll
see. And I'll never know because I won't be playing.
No, you will, because your chat will be full for the next 3 months of people saying, man, why are there just always squads of Giga Chads on this map? It's supposed to be for noobs. Yeah. Prepare yourselves 3 months from now.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
I hope I'm wrong. I have the vibe that I think there's enough people that are going to be low level for the entire wipe. Yeah. There's enough people starting.
Yeah. But the other thing,
there'll always be people getting on by the perception of more skilled, higher geared people.
That's true. Here's the thing, though. Even if that's true, it's still a better universe because you won't be able to get dumpstered on by a dude with a slick and an Alton. Does that make sense? So,
well, yeah, you'll be much less likely.
But that's what I'm saying. As in 3 months in, we're going to talk about the same sentiment here. I don't know if there's a word for it, but with the recoil later on. I say the pendulum of veterans to Timmys swings way towards more Timmys 3 months into the wipe. But even if somebody were to argue with me, I don't think it's going to swing as far as you think. And I say, you're right. It's still a better universe for a new player because they can't run into a level 50. Right now, what do people say when they say, you know, I'm new. Where should I go? People are like customs, maybe go play woods, maybe play factory. You go to customs, me and Valiant roll customs all day. You go to woods, me, Jay, and Seal are running around with AXMCs. So it's like, at least, even if the ratio is more veterans than I think, you're still going up against people who are similarly geared to you, even in a world where there's more Chads. But you have to concede that it's better. I'm not saying all the way. Yes,
absolutely.
Okay.
But what you have to recognize is it's a binary. The dude who goes in with a Makarov and nothing else everybody playing the game has more gear than him.
For sure.
And if they confidently run voice line and kill him, no matter what, they could have level 3 armor.
For sure.
It was a Giga Chad that shat on them.
I agree.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the perception.
Yes, I was just going to say that. You're talking about the perception. I'm talking about the reality. And I agree with what you're saying, that the perception of those new players will still be, I got absolutely dumpstered. But I'm saying
the perception is the experience.
For
so
sure.
whether they get shit on by someone level 50 who's level 6 out of their mind, or someone who's level 12 who's level 3 out of their mind,
yeah,
the experience is not going to be different for them, which is the whole point of this whole thing, right? All we care about is that new players have a better experience.
Yeah.
So if I'm right, which I hope I'm not.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Then the whole we've solved things for beginners, right? Or might not come to fruition. I hope I'm wrong. For sure. Like I said,
I still think that there's part of the experiences, like if you log on and 3 of your 10 raids you get dumpstered on by Chads, the perception, whether that was the reality or not, or when you hop on in 10 out of your 10 raids you get dumpstered on by Chads, even if you get off and you're like, man, I'm still getting dumpstered on by Chads, I still think that that was a net positive. Like what I'm saying, and I'm going to say the same thing with the recoil, is that it ends up being a net positive. It's in no way worse. It might be better. No one's going to be able to do the math on if it's better, but we still live in a universe where it might be better and it can't be worse. And so in my opinion, that's a net positive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, on average, you're going to be more likely to have a better experience.
Yeah.
But everybody always has a bad experience in Tarkov.
Correct. That's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it. You're statistically more likely to have a better experience, but it doesn't matter because in Tarkov, you always have a bad experience.
I know a lot of newer players or people who maybe played one wipe and struggled are going to go in thinking, I'm going to have a better experience at this map, and they're going to get dumpstered and like they have been.
And that's such a good point, is that not only is perception important when you're talking about the experience, perception is important with what you perceive Ground Zero to be. I think a lot of people went in and they're like, this is the noob map, and they expected like offline mode with progression. You know what I mean? And that's not what it is. I would be down with like you able to play offline on Ground Zero and get to level 5. Literally, that's the true like new player experience. And then from level 5 to 15, you can play Ground Zero online, and then 16 and up, you play Ground Zero in the other queue. I genuinely think that would be better. And I think the perception of a lot of people is almost that that's what it was going to be, and it's not. It's 12 people in a tiny map, and it's Rengar and Landmark coming after you. You know what I mean? So, anyways, they added the new boss, Kollontai. I haven't seen him yet. He's
what?
Kollontai. Kollontai. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Kollontai. He works with Kaban. They're homies. He's dressed up in, he's got police stuff on. He's got like armor all over. I haven't seen him yet. He's in the new mall area on Streets, which I don't think you spent too much time on the expansion of Streets. You played the wipe Streets came in, but you didn't play much.
I never played.
Yeah, after. Last wipe. Yeah, the August to December wipe. Okay, so in the new area of Streets that you haven't seen, there's a mall that looks way better than Interchange, and that's where Kollontai is. The only thing I know about him is that his melee weapon is a rubber police baton, and it's lootable, and you can whack people with it, and I love it.
Floppy?
No, it's like hard. Okay, the other things, dude, the other boss what I think, Kaban has new guards. I haven't fought Kaban yet either. Boss Kaban is joined by his closest associates, Basmach and Gus. Since the time of Kaban's involvement with the business, they have served as his loyal associates, solving many delicate issues for him. These two quote-unquote dandies like to dress up at Ragman's place and organize illegal street races through the streets of Tarkov in tuned cars from Kaban's dealership. Basmach and Gus always stay close to Kaban and charge into battle for him. They prefer unique clothes to their battle gear, though there are occasional exceptions. So, like, they made a really big point to say that these dudes look fly. Like, these guys are all about looking good. And I haven't seen any pictures of them yet.
Were they also alluding to them, like, maybe kissing? Or
I don't know.
I have a Word document open where I have a bunch of notes about how, like, my fan fiction that I'm working on about these two guys now that...
Basmach and Gus. So, I haven't seen them, But it's so freaking funny, dude. It's so funny. I haven't seen
Hell
it yet.
yeah, I can't wait to go to Imager.
Yeah,
Image?
I've never known.
I don't think anybody really
Yeah.
knows.
Okay, next thing, the Shoreline rework. Have you been yet? Have you seen anything?
I played. I literally only played Shoreline and Factory today, and I spawned way back in the corner opposite the tunnel.
Oh, so by the new barn?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Like kind of over by the landmine sort of area.
Okay. Yeah.
So like literally cross the street and just like run towards like the radar tower area.
Yep. Okay.
So I saw that there's like a little like lake there.
Yeah.
I saw the snow, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
And I went to the resort. I died in one of them. The really cool thing was the being able to get up to the second floor for that truck with the ladder on the back.
The fire
like
truck, dude.
Insane. It was just so cool to be able to get up there.
Such a great additional entrance and exit.
Yeah.
To the east
and
wing.
The lighting, I don't know, they just like turned on like ray tracing or something, because I was walking downstairs with like the light and I'm like,
the lighting looks great.
Looks gorgeous. Of course, after I said that, everything kind of was flickering a bit.
Yeah.
And then I got disconnected from the raid. It took me like 5 minutes to get connected again. But overall, it looks really sick.
Dude. The magnitude. So like, because we were waiting on Velian to like get access, me and Seal were just like running around in offlines. We offline Ground Zero and we offline Shoreline. Dude. The amount they changed this map. And Veritas, like, not just the amount they changed it for changing its sake, the amount they changed it as a direct result, or at least the appearance of the direct result of like feedback of the map. Like everybody hates on Shoreline and everyone's like, it's just open plains and then like weird POIs, right? Like the weather station was a great one. If the goons were up on weather station, good luck. They can see for 800 meters and there's no good way to get up to the weather station, right? They just beam you. So like the weather station is a great example. You can now get up to the weather station from basically any angle. There is tons of hard cover. That entire field that you spawned near, it was the topography is completely redone. There's more hard cover. There's more trees. There's the lake. There's more way to break line of sight of people. You know the hill everybody likes to sit up on that overlooks the gas station and snipe like pier?
Yep.
That entire area completely redone. New topography.
And they also did the rocks leading up to, I think, East Wing, the one with like the fire truck or whatever. That I expected to have to just jump up rocks, and it was just like a nice sloping, and I'm like, holy.
It looks like they learned a lot from Lighthouse, because Lighthouse can get really toxic on like you just have to jump and like jump and you just lose all your stamina. It's like
and
staircases.
You make a ton of noise.
Yes, and it looks like they learned, and it's like the visual aesthetic of Lighthouse, but with much more like you can just walk up these paths. So West Wing is the same, by the way. You were on East Wing. West Wing, getting up is completely different. In the West Wing, in the back near Path to Lighthouse, they redid a bunch of stuff. They moved the truck that was over there. They didn't do much around tunnel or like the villages or cottages. All that looks the same. And then additionally, so where you spawned by the landmines, like you're looking and you're like, okay, the resort is up here. The East Wing is up here. If you had gone to your right, they opened up a whole new area of the map. And there's like a fence, and you hop over the fence, and there's this barn. There's like dude, it looks like a little piece of reserve, but with some shoreline. There's like fenced barn places where animals are, where the animals would have been. There's tons of buildings. There's connexes.
Can you fucking imagine if there's just like,
dude, just cows or something? There's like all sorts of stuff. You can get up on the top of the barn and see out for a really long time. There's a built into the ground shooting range with targets like the freaking hideout targets, like where the people who lived there would have practiced target practice.
Can you like reset them? Is
no,
there like
but like they're spread out and you can, it's really cool. There's tons of loot out there. There's tons of scavs out there. There's a lot out there. It's really cool. And they also added a car extract on Shoreline up in that corner. So in that barn area,
Shit.
there's a car extract and there's a scav PMC extraction as well. And
Okay.
they added Rock Passage back, but they made it Red Rebel and Paracord, which I never really cared about.
I've wanted that. I wanted that for a long. Now, see, I wanted it back 3 wipes ago when I had a Red Rebel and I was running Shoreline a ton. You know, but now it's like
I just like don't want to run a Paracord. That's the only thing is I don't have to shove a Paracord in my Gamma.
Oh, boo hoo!
I know. But yeah, so they added the Red Rebel extract back. They added a Scav co-op extract. They added a car extract. They retouched all the POIs. They retouched the resort. The lighting in the resort is much better. You can shoot the construction lights in the resort. NVG's in the resort. It's going to be a game changer. It was the only map in the game where you couldn't shoot the construction lights, and they would just make using NVGs in the resort just aids because you couldn't see anything, and then you turn them off, and the lights are only pointed one direction. Chat with the clutch. And they added green smoke to the pier when the pier extract is up.
I saw that.
Dude, they like fixed Shoreline. It's so sick.
I wonder if the light's still there because there used to be a spotlight.
There used to be a spotlight that has.
And I think that I don't know if they just like couldn't figure out how to fix that bug.
Yeah,
and they're just like, it just put up flares.
Put
like
the
we've
flare.
got that working.
Yeah. So, oh my God, it's so sick. Now here's the deal though with the Shoreline changes. I love all of them, and so many people were like, "Does this mean freaking Shoreline isn't AIDS anymore?" And it all comes down to what you want out of Tarkov. If you want to spawn in and in 7 seconds or less be picking up a Bitcoin or be fighting someone, you're still going to hate Shoreline, right? Because the resort is still going to be the POI where all that's going to happen. And if you're going to SJ6 there and be mad. I loved Shoreline. I loved sniping on Shoreline. I love early wipe Shoreline. I love resort fights on Shoreline. And so it's like, if you're the cracked out adrenaline junkie that wants streets because you can just like fall into a Bitcoin or another PMC spawn, then you're probably still not going to like Shoreline, right? But I think it's awesome. I think they really actually addressed a lot of the issues that the map has. No, you know what I mean? The primary driver of any map in Escape from Tarkov is the loot. And no, there isn't insane Bitcoin loot or LEDX loot at any of these POIs. So if that's the main driver of your gameplay experience, you're probably still not going to like Shoreline.
But there's also like a red key card spawn and a few other things.
Yeah.
So if you're like me, you get super lucky and then we'll never be able to afford to sell it.
Yeah.
Actually, they fixed that, right?
Yeah, they did actually, but yeah. So freaking Shoreline WWW. Okay, next thing, they added new equipment. They added a few new things, new backpacks, new random stuff. They've added some new food items. They added the ramen noodles. Have you seen that? It's ramen noodles, but when you eat them, he just breaks a piece off and eats the dry noodles, which is so funny. And they added like
beef. What do you expect him to do? Add hot water and like stir the
because
cup?
That's just like a meme because some people eat ramen that way, and it's like it's just funny because that's like a meme. People eat ramen dry. I've done it before.
I mean, I would assume that if I was in that position, yeah.
Oh yeah, you would have to.
Like a goddamn
There's
cracker.
Beef jerky, but the animation for it is you drink it. You take the thing off and then you're like, but it's beef jerky. It's so...
I hate it so much. Actually, that whatever the opposite of like ASMR, there's like that hurts my soul, dude. What the? I don't know why. Why does that bother me so much? Oh my god. What the
dude, it's weird.
Drinking beef jerky. The sentence should never be uttered.
Yeah. So if you find some beef jerky, drink it. They added some new guns.
I just watched a whole video on toast sandwich, by the way, and that's just reminded me of yep, 2 pieces of bread, put some butter on them, salt and pepper, and then a piece of toast, and then put the toast in between that.
Why does that sound good?
It's not.
I want it. A toast sandwich? Hell yeah.
Go to the Wikipedia page. There's a Wikipedia page.
Of course there is.
That's what I watched the video on.
Of course there is. They added some new weapons, which we got as a Christmas gift, by the way, or a New Year's gift. If you haven't yet, escapefromtarkov.com, log into your profile, and you get one of the KS or KBP or VSK. There's 8 names. It's the 9891, but then there's the VSK 94. I don't know why they're different, but they're both Val ammo, 9x39. There's you can suppress them, but they're like little SMGs. You get one of those, like 620 round mags, a bunch of SP5, and they're cool.
Bro, am I the only person that when I go to the Escape from Tarkov website and I go to log in, I'm using my password manager, it just auto-populates it. It fails.
Yes. Every
time. Then I hit login and it just works.
Yep, every time.
But the actual...
Every time. Every time. I don't understand.
And I still have the issue where it, like, remember me on the... I have to log into the launcher every single time.
Yeah.
Why? Remember me, please. Why does my launcher have Alzheimer's? I don't understand.
Remember me, please. So the Christmas gift, they added the SIG MCX spear and chambered in a new caliber, the 277 Fury, which is cool. There's like a long barrel version. There's a suppressed version. Mossberg sent me an image. Knight, he pulled one off the Goons. Knight had like a short barrel version. There's also a new SIG, I think it's SIG branded 1-6 LPVO.
Okay.
You know how like when they added the G28, every time you find a G28, it has like the 3-12 LPVO on it. It's kind of the same thing. They added a new LPVO, but almost like for this gun. But you're going to be able to use it on whatever gun. But it's like every time you find it, it'll have that LPVO on it. Then they added the RPD and the RPD-N. I imagine the N, just like every other N in the AK series, it has a dovetail mount or doesn't. But they essentially added the RPD, which is 7.62x39 LMG. And then they updated the models and animations and like how customizable and how many parts are on SKSs. Like all the SKSs are just like updated. They look good. I don't use SKS as much, but so new guns, cool. We have so many guns, right? Like I'm not going to use the RPD probably, and the spear looks sick.
Is that like one of the CQB like end kits in Arena? I saw a clip with
the RPD. No, there's not an Arena yet.
Was it? I don't remember who it was. Somebody had
the PKP. Yes, Ratatouille is the name of the kit. Yeah.
And it was like terrible. It looks like
it's
terrible.
Awful. Yeah, it's crazy with new recoil. By the way, it's like really good, but it was awful on old recoil. So cool. Boom. W, I guess. New guns are cool. The 6 spear looks sick. New caliber. Okay. They added the achievement system, which there isn't really anything like. The achievement system is cool. I'm glad it's in the game. There really isn't any new features to it that we didn't
kicking the balls
that we didn't see.
Welcome to Tarkov,
dude.
When I like you,
me and Seal's literal first raid of the entire wipe. We were waiting on Valiant. Valiant was like, go in. We go in. We see a PMC. We're shooting at him, and we hear tink tink. Dude throws a nade. It lands in between us. We both die to the nade and get the Welcome to Tarkov achievement. I was like, damn, dude, brutal.
I hate it. I can respect that. I'm like, that to me is the non-toxic version of putting a claymore in front of the factory, in front of the the safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're both Tarkov being Tarkov and being like but one of them is like
yes,
and the other one's funny.
Yes, I agree with all of that. So yeah, the achievements cool. I don't think there's a ton of them, but that's fine. This system is really easy to like flesh out as we go. So it's like it's cool. I think the achievement system is cool. The Hall of Fame thing. Oh, this is interesting. A new hideout zone called the Hall of Fame where you can display mementos, displaying dog tags of players of the opposite faction killed by your PMC. You get a bonus to the skill leveling of your combat skills. The higher the level of the eliminated player, the greater the skill bonus. So it's kind of a cool thing. It's just a bunch of the modules have modifiers to like how fast your skills level. And so this is just like a cool way to do combat skills where it's like every time you kill someone, you're like, yo, that's the highest level PMC I killed. Throw it up in the Hall of Fame and you'll get a little bonus. So I think that's kind of cool.
I'm not getting verification emails. Just probably like everyone else in Twitch chat that complains about it. I just get nothing.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I'm not gonna read all this because it's a lot, bro. But the new armor's in the game. The new armor hitboxes.
I haven't noticed any
Yeah.
difference.
I'm trying to think. So they added new hitboxes. They added like the groin. They separated everything into like front and back. So like the chest hitbox now has chest front, chest back, chest side, chest left. They added like they added a throat and a back neck hitbox. Then they added the plates, 37 plates. Some are like more universal type plates. Some are more specific to specific armors. Ballistic zones. A lot of the armors have soft armor. A lot of the armors serve almost like old armor was, where you could put a Gen 4 and attack tech on it. So a lot of the armors have plates, and then so a trooper will have a class 4 plate in it, and underneath it is class 2 soft armor. And the soft armor is not replaceable, but it is repairable. And then the plates are replaceable and repairable. Helmets.
Now, see,
go ahead.
I was gonna say that there's two things about the armor system. So I've been saying forever that I thought that the armor system, from what I understood it to be, which was like we didn't have all the information, I was like, it's going to be massive overcomplication for exactly the same time to kill.
Result,
Now, so far, what I've seen and what I've heard, that kind of bears out. Although I have heard a couple different interpretations, and I want to adjust partially. There are a few cases where I feel like this new system shines.
Yeah.
They're theoretical cases. At least in my head, I haven't experienced it yet.
Yeah.
But so like if you're running, right, and you get shot in the back a couple times, you whip around, now you can eat a few more.
Yep.
Now that's going to be most relevant like early on when people have ammo and stuff, but at that point I've died every raid to a headshot, to a face shot or a throat shot, which makes my armor irrelevant. And the new system wouldn't do anything about that.
Correct.
So that's one. Two, this is what I heard from one of my mods, Overskilled. He mentioned this, and I think it was something that like he had experienced. I hadn't considered that you would have plates with Kevlar over it.
Yeah.
So the idea of like you get peppered with buckshot, let's say, you don't have one big armor zone that is then getting peppered with, and then you kill the person, and then now it's like degraded. Now you have the Kevlar eats that, and your plates are good for the later engagement. That right there was something they hadn't talked about that I remember.
No.
So that was like, oh, that could be significant, to be determined whether or not it leads to, when everybody's running 40 plus pen ammo all the time everywhere, and or when the recoil, because the recoil that we'll get into later is so good and people are just going to be hitting face shots. It's kind of, I don't know, I still feel like it's going to be irrelevant, but it is what it is.
And you
can't change them in the middle of a raid, right?
You can't. Here's the balance.
Raid out.
Here's the balance. You can't change it if you're wearing the armor. Throw the armor on the ground, throw the armor on the ground.
Put it in your backpack.
You can put it in your backpack. But I'm saying throw the armor on the ground, and now you have another thing. It says pick up, or you can scroll down with your mouse wheel to modding. You can put it in your backpack and right click and do modding. But I'm just saying, it has to be off you. And what you can do is, if I wanted to insurance fraud my armor or whatever, or you can't carry this guy's armor, you just go to the modding thing or right click on it, and you can pull the plates out. Now, once again, soft armor, that Kevlar, that class 2, you can't take out or anything. That stays there. And some armors like P.A.C.As are only Kevlar soft armor. You can't put a plate in a P.A.C.A. You have to get one that's also a plate carrier. But somebody said today they found a class 6 plate in stash, and they put it in their Karasa in the front, and they were running around with a class 6 Karasa.
Holy okay, wait, that's going to be the new meta, hiding in. Okay, So
Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I've seen them in the people's stashes. If what how big is the plate
Two
when
by
you
two.
drop it?
2x2.
I mean, like on the ground.
Oh, I mean,
You know, like some of the items you drop, like the can of beans,
yeah.
the can of
Yeah.
coffee is like this
Yeah.
big, right? Like,
Yeah.
how big is it? Because what I'm wondering is, you know how when you have like a stack of like next to a corpse,
Yeah.
if you have your okay, before I get to what I was gonna say, the armor plates, how repairable are they? Are they like normal armor where it's kind of like 80-90%?
Yeah.
And it's like affordable?
This is where you get into it. It's what's the armor made of? It goes right back into that system. Some of them are very repairable, some of them not very repairable.
So but if they're small visually,
Yeah.
I can see the meta being you're standing over a body that you've just killed, drag your into your backpack, discard all the plates. No one's going to see them on the ground.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to be stacked up in the grass or whatever. No one will ever pick it up.
Correct.
And then you can So we're going to get plates back in insurance, maybe potentially a lot more often.
Yeah. Yeah.
That could be huge.
Yeah, I mean, for insurance frauding your gear, you can ditch the plates and the armor in 2 different spots. So if someone finds the armor, you get the plates back. Like there's a lot. You're going to be getting, I think, a lot more plates back in insurance. I think you will. They removed a lot of the restrictions on what can be sold on the flea market for the armors, but then added restrictions that you can't sell level 5 and 6 plates. Does that make sense? Which was kind of a smart move by them. It's because they're understanding that the system is changing. So now you can buy a Gen 4, it doesn't matter, but you just can't sell a level 5 or 6 plate on the flea. So they made that adjustment, which is good. Here's my thing, dude. This is a complicated system. Going back to what we said, I agreed with you. My expectation was, or no, my worry, not my expectation. My worry was that a complicated system gets more complicated and, like you said, results in the same experience. That was my fear. In my experience, what's happened has been this, is it's widened. There are more scenarios where your armor can save you and feel incredibly valuable, and more scenarios where you can feel like your armor did nothing for you, because they've added there's an armpit hitbox where like you can get shot by a sniper scav, one shot with his SVD into your armpit and your armor did nothing, right? And you die. So there are technically your throat. I've been head throated a lot. So I
died to the throat like
there
twice
are
in a row.
more places on your body you can get one tapped, which in my opinion isn't necessarily a good thing. If you want the armor to be a valuable thing to you or whatever, or it won't have value if there are enough places where you can get one tapped. It's up to you to determine if there's enough. But so I'll say that there are more places you can get one tapped. If you don't have neck armor, you can get throated. If you don't have the armpit armor, you can get armpitted. The flip side of that is, in my experience of the reality of Escape from Tarkov, of like how I play the game, in my experience, it's made armor more valuable. Much more valuable.
In terms of survivability?
In terms of survivability. The amount of times I've gotten shot by a scav, took a bunch of damage, and literally in my head went, well, my armor's trashed, and it had 2 points of armor taken off because the Kevlar absorbed those buckshots. And I went, hell yeah, dude. I heal my arms. We're back. The amount of times, literally, like you said, theoretically, it's not theoretical. The amount of times I've had a PMC shoot me in the back and I whip around and I'm good. I'm chilling and I can fight this guy. So
is that because they're using like PSO in their 9mm pistol?
Yes, for sure. And there's 2 things I want to talk about that in a second. But I will say, going into it, I was very famously on this podcast and on my stream very worried that this was going to result in a shorter time to kill, a more complicated armor system, and more of a reason to ignore the entire system as a whole and just follow a meta. And I will say I have been surprised and delighted that I can insurance fraud armor plates, that I can take them out in raid. But I think this is what you and me both said back in the day. We would like to be able to swap out armor plates in raid, but there has to be a trade-off because it's going to be toxic if the rich can just bring in backpacks full of plates and swap them out super quick in the middle of a fight. The fact that you have to take your armor off means you have to either disengage from the fight far enough away to be put, to be okay to do that, or you have to put yourself in a vulnerable position in the fight. I think that's a fairly decent trade-off. We'll see as the wipe progresses, but I think that's a fairly decent trade-off. So I was happy about that. So I have been surprised and delighted so far that it's felt like my armor has lasted longer, saved me more times, and allowed that like doubling up of the level 2 Kevlar to be really valuable to me.
Dude, imagine the new meta is going to be if you're like a scav with your garbage ass trash gear.
Yeah.
You roll up on a Chad that just dropped 3 dudes and you're sitting there looting and you see his armor just disappear because he puts it in his bag and you're like, oh, yeah. And you toss him in the back and he dies. Like, I mean, hey.
Yep. Another thing, Airwing did a bunch of testing on it. It seems as though if you get shot in the plate, not the Kevlar, but in the plate, and the ammo doesn't penetrate the plate, you don't take blunt damage. But if you get shot in the Kevlar and it doesn't penetrate the Kevlar, you do take a little bit of blunt damage. So like if you get shot in like the most armored places of you and it doesn't pen, so it looks like a slight nerf to blunt damage as well, which is something that I've wanted for a long time.
Now the real question is, what about aim punch and vision blur?
Yeah, those are still as toxic as hell.
Even in so there's no difference? Or...
no perceivable difference. I engage in so much less combat early wipe that honestly, I can't tell you with 100% certainty. But I haven't.
I think most of the time they're arm shots that are doing that, so it's irrelevant about the plate stuff.
I forgot. Oh.
No, I guess not irrelevant, but like,
dude,
it's hard to tell whether or not. I
forgot about this, bro. In the patch notes, forearm hitbox zones have been reduced in diameter. They literally are attempting to nerf that. Like they like shrank the forearm hitbox a little bit. Once again, I haven't gotten to enough combat to be like, oh, sweet, it's not happening anymore.
What was it before? Was it like 3 times the size of it fucking off, dude?
But the fact that they even said that means that they are recognizing that it's toxic to shoot somebody in the arms. You know what I mean? When they're, have their gun up. So that was cool that they did that. But yeah, so I'm not sure if aim punch and vision blur are affected. It hasn't perceivably been affected in my opinion, but
you know what they should have done? They should have just made it like a 99% penetration chance on arms. And then I don't care how big the hitbox is.
Yeah.
Because then hitting someone in the arms is a bonus. Because you're hitting them twice.
Yeah.
It's arm, chest, not just chest.
Yeah.
But not just arm.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Now, the other thing we have to talk about, it's not in the patch notes. This is very divisive, okay? So just friggin' don't look at chat. You asked the question, do you feel like the armor is helping you perceiving to help you because the dude is shooting bad ammo? And I was like, yeah, for sure, right? Because like, that scales a little bit. I've got class 3 plates. They're shooting bad ammo. If I have class 5 plates, they can be shooting better ammo. Has anyone told you about what they've done to the ammo and the ammo availability? Okay.
I know a lot of things, like all the ammo I'm using now I've never seen before.
Yes. And that's because
app to look at the goddamn numbers that I wish.
And that is because Veritas. Okay, so dude, this is the Kraken is about to be released. I am not saying this is going to be a good change, okay? Let it be known. Let it be known. I'm not saying that I 100% think this is going to be a good change. What I am saying is I am excited to test this, okay? And to see where it goes. They have completely decimated the ammo economy. You can't buy 5.5A1 at any level trader anymore. 5.6A1, which was on Peacekeeper level 2 last wipe, is Peacekeeper 4. It's the last good ammo you can get. 5.6A1. Okay? BP is gone. PS, level 4 proper.
7.62?
7.62 PS! Level 4 proper. Okay?
I thought it was level 2.
Not anymore.
No, I mean, like, I was asking about that.
Maybe it's level 3, but it's not level 2. I'm level 2.
Huh.
Yeah. So I don't know, like,
I mean, PS is a good round.
it's a good round.
30 something pens like
It's a good
that'll
round.
pen class 4.
It's a good round. Now here's the thing. Oh, proper 3. Okay, proper 3. Sorry, not proper 4. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is, it used to be like, this is another step. It used to be you could buy 995 from traders and M61 from traders, right? And then like and BP, and they took those off. They went another step, and now you can't buy 55A1 from traders. You can't buy a lot of, and I don't know how it scales with everything like M80. I don't know where M80 is, right? Like, I haven't been able to keep up because I've been trying to play the game. But I'm very interested to see. Oh, and then you know what else? They didn't just remove things. Now I'm trying to give them credit here. They didn't just remove things from the traders. Velian found a 120 round box of 55A1. So they're putting it in.
So they did exactly what we've been asking them to do
for years, dude. It's
Forever
not just like 8 rounds in a stash, right? There are like boxes of good ammo in the game. Now here's the thing. I've been having conversations with this where people are like freaking out. Here's the real question. This change is a big fat L if there's just some random reach level 52 and then unlock this quest where you shoot 100 scavs in the face and you unlock 55A1. They keep doing this. I think 2 or 3 separate times now, they've taken BP off the traders and then they just put it behind a super high level quest. In my opinion, that's an L. I know all the Chads are going to come at me because they're going to be like, well, we play a lot. We should be rewarded for playing a lot. And my opinion of that is your reward for playing a lot is that you have more BP that you've found.
Yeah.
Because you're playing the game. If you take all the good ammos off and then just put them at high level quests, you have not changed the access of those ammos to the Chads. You've only changed it for the new players and the people that play more casually. And in my opinion, that kind of sucks, right?
Yeah, and there's also a result here that, depending on the availability, because this is something you have to get right. Here's a world that we can live in. You get a situation where part of the armor hit zones and the recoil, part of like the W in that equation, is low level people have a chance again.
Yes.
To be able to take like all of my old school videos where I'm like one tapping dudes with like, you know, kivers because there was no like face hitbox.
Yeah.
You know, or I think I mixed up part of that. But
no,
basically,
yeah, I
like,
get you.
I would go on scav runs and I would just be killing the fast MT fort dudes with scav garbage.
Yeah.
Okay, so but you can flip that on its side.
Yeah.
On its head? I don't know. I'm
you
like
flip
high right now. Imagine a world where the Chads have gotten to the point where they can have level 3, probably level 4 or 5 and up armor on every inch of their body.
Yeah.
New players have access to, they either have to find the stuff and extract with it, which they're not going to. They're anything like me. They're going to die every raid, and they're not going to be able to come out with massive boxes full of ammo.
Yeah.
And they won't be able to buy something like PS, which in my opinion was like kind of an equalizer.
Yeah.
And instead, they're going to just be, they're not going to be hitting the neck shots or the armpit shots because the other guys will have the guns that are modded for ergo with a LPVO, and they're going to see them and they're going to go, well, pat, one tap.
Yeah.
Or full auto without the recoil, and they're going to spray down the Timmies, and the Timmies are just going to get melted. So there's a world in which
I agree.
Now there's a gate where you can't compete anymore.
I agree. Which is why I said at the beginning of this, I'm not saying this is a good change. All I'm saying is that we've said many times that we feel like giving players infinite and unlimited access to the best ammo kind of just makes armor useless, right? Now, I'm not like, I don't even think you're being devil's advocate. I agree. If they take the ammo away, we have to consider there's a world where, okay, well, the gate isn't now that the Chads have ammo that you don't have. The gate is if the Chads have armor that you can't pen, right? Like, so I get that there's value there. But what I'm just saying is that, like, man, They've infinite and unlimited access. They do the trader. Oh my god, you can only buy 90 rounds, but if you play all the time, you're just camping the traders every time, and then you have like you can only buy 90 rounds of 5.5A1. I never had less than 2,000 rounds, right? And I use M4s all the time because I just play enough. So that wasn't a valuable gate in my opinion, right? Because like it still just made it so everybody. So the seeing how this plays out definitely is determined by, do they end up just giving this ammo back to the Chads? And if so, that's going to make me very sad, right? And then secondly, what do they do at the top end with armor and plates? What we haven't yet seen is, did they also change the availability of class 5 and 6 armors?
Yeah.
Or class 5 and 6 plates, which that could also freaking that could also kind of like change the balance of everything as well. And then the other thing that goes back to it being the great equalizer is ammo can always be put in a secure container, right? So like you might find 120 rounds of 5.5A1. If you play Tarkov a few hours a week and you never get to level 40, you maybe never had the ability to purchase 5.5A1, right, for USD, which means you would never have it. By them removing it from the traders and putting it in the raid, now you might find it. If you find it, you can put it in your secure container. And if you put it in your secure container, you can bring it in your ADAR with 10-round mags, and that could be the great equalizer, where now you can go through any helmet. And does that make sense? So
yeah, absolutely. It really depends on
it really depends.
Availability, accessibility,
and armor.
And from a practical standpoint, how likely is it that, given the availability of ammo, that you will have that ammo loaded into a gun that you can accurately shoot at a PMC who is geared?
Yeah.
There's a world in which this completely equalizes everything.
Yeah.
We were right all along, and it's amazing. There's a world in which nothing changes. It's just a different flavor of the same thing.
Correct.
And see, like, the things that we've talked about, like in our preemptive defense, the things we've talked about have been so high level and generalized that they can do what we said and have it still be bad. Just depends on how they do it.
And we don't even have to come to our own defense for that, because we've always said that. We talk about it at a high level. If they're actually going to implement it in the game, it demands a more nuanced take on it, right? Like, you know what I mean?
It needs to be done right. It
100%.
all depends on the availability. It depends on the,
But my opinion has always been that I think that my value of being a guy that plays a lot should come from finding more things than you in the raid. In the raid. If I have 5,000 5.5A1, I want it because I found those in the raid, not just because I camped a trader that you can't camp. Because if I had to find those 5,000 rounds of 5.5A1 in the raid, that meant you could have gotten there before me and shoved it up your butt, or you could have killed me while I was trying to loot it, as opposed to I'm at no risk when I'm just camping Peacekeeper resets. I'm at no risk. So if you have 5,000 rounds of 5.5A1 in this economy, that guy's good. He survives a lot of raids. He knows where the ammo spawns. He's playing the video game. And what I think that does is I think it at least attempts at putting more power into the more casual people, because they can find that if they get a good spawn. They can load it into their ADAR and one tap and exfil helmet, and then they might have access to some better gear. It, like you said,
absolutely,
skill is definitely going to still come into the game. Nobody wants a game where, like, if nobody wants a game where it's just a 50-50 shot. I shoot you in the head first, 50-50, I win, and then you shoot me in the head. It's like, you might beat people that are more skilled at you, but it's not going to feel good when you shoot people in the head. So it's like, of course, skill is always going to come into the thing, but I've liked pushing it more in favor of the more casual people. I've said for years now, the more stuff we put into a raid and off of the traders equalizes things a little bit, because I don't have unrestricted access and access with no risk. And you, the more casual player, had no access before, and now you have access. And that feels like, it always feels like what we're talking about is trying to figure out a way to, like, hurt the Chads but buff the casuals. And this feels like that to me. Now, once again, I understand the argument from the more veterans, from the Chads, of like, well, I play more, I should be rewarded. I just think I think our perception of what being rewarded is skewed, because the traders have been so fleshed out with all this stuff. our perception of being rewarded is I can buy anything I want anytime I want. And I don't like that as a reward for me playing, because then everything loses all value. I still want to be in there 4 months into a wipe and be like, oh, I found a class 6 plate, or I found a, you know, box 125 5A1. I still want that to feel good. And so that to me feels like it gives more of the video game for the casual to play, and then keeps for the Chad the risk and the rush of the game longer.
Yep. We'll have to see how it plays out, and we'll also have to see what they have for crafts at all the various levels. Because
that's
if you can
such a good point.
If you can just craft
5.5A1,
then there's effectively, right. And this is what I was talking about with the supply, right?
Yeah.
There's if in 3 hours you can craft like 100 rounds of 995. Every raid you're gonna die to 995 because everybody is they're only gonna run the M4 when they get the 995 that they crafted. So you know what I mean? So it's like there's a artificial scarcity, or like a faux scarcity in that, like, so it depends, right?
It depends
I'm
on
crossing my fingers. We'll see.
Me too. It depends on the armor. It depends on the ammo. It depends on the late game quests. It depends on a lot of things. But here's the thing, and here's and this is the point you were getting to earlier when you were like, in our preemptive defense, this isn't going to be perfect, but it means so much to me that we're attempting to move the needle, as opposed to just like all the needle movements. And this is what you were just saying. All the previous needle movements have been fake ones where it's like, oh, well, you can only buy 90 rounds now. It's like, that doesn't effectively do anything. The Chads still have all the ammo and the casuals have none of the ammo. Like, oh, well, you can't put it on the flea market anymore. I still had 5,000 rounds of 5.5A1 and the casuals still had no rounds of 5.5A1. So the fact that we're finally making a change that is actually affecting everybody in the game, I don't think it's going to be perfect. It's probably going to have flaws. We're probably going to poke fun and make fun at it, but I'm so happy. I mean, I'm going to be so happy they did this, even if everybody agrees 3 months from now it's terrible and they revert everything back. Everybody tells me all the time, games in beta, games in beta. Let's do some beta. Like, let's try some things and see if it works. You know what I mean? So I'm excited. It's real. The ammo is really divisive. People are really, really unsure about it, but I'm excited that we're trying something, man.
Can we real quick, like, interrupt to what the flow we were on and just say, for the last 2 years, however long we've been doing this goddamn podcast, we have been, let me step back. We should establish that this is one of the most well-received wipes I can remember. People are happy. People are
agreed.
Other than all of the outside of the game, in terms of gameplay, I think it's safe to say that people are really happy, right?
Yeah.
We have been for a couple of years harping on giving your character more movement, not having with stamina, talking about the availability of ammo, talking about the availability of armor, talking about how the recoil needs to be done, all of the, and literally everything they did are the things we were saying, like begging them to do, that people were fighting back against. And wow, wouldn't you know it? Everybody loves it. Wow, it's incredible.
It's just like crazy.
It's like after my recoil, Tarkov going in the right direction, and then they made a change, and it was like everybody unanimously, it was the one time everybody, it was the World War II, the Germans and the the Allies sitting there singing Kumbaya on Christmas, right? The ceasefire, everybody was for like a week, and then they reverted a bunch of and then they walked it back, and then it went back into AIDS mode. Can I just say that feels good?
It feels good to be a gangster. No, I agree.
Oh, was it World War I? Okay, my bad.
Oh no, what happened here? Oh, the only other thing with the ammo is one of the things they need to do is they need to now adjust the loot pool of what scavs can have, AI and players. So like now LPS for the Mosin, right? That used to be the level 1 garbage ammo. That's some of the best ammo you can buy from the traders, even maxed out. You can spawn as a player scav with LPS.
Wait, you can spawn as a player scout?
Yeah.
Damn, what crazy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. Or the sniper scav with an SVD can have SNB.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can
yeah.
Vepr Hunter AI or player scavs M80. So it's like
they should spawn in with like 20 rounds of LPS
Yeah.
and then everything else be trash. Like
Yeah.
mix it up a little bit.
So yeah, I'm not saying we should go all the way back. I like the concept of like I remember when they added the so how rare you find an 8R scav with 5.5A1 is how rare I think LPS M80 SNB should be. Like, because it being very rare but plausible means you might want to stay in raid and you want to loot your scav kills, right? Because they could have good ammo. But right now it's really common because last wipe, you know, those weren't crazy ammos. So they need to go back with that, like, you know, 7.62 PS, right, is a top tier ammo now. I have 500 rounds of it because you just kill a scav and he's always hasn't. So they need to put, you know, the T45s, the HPs on those things. And then that has the double whammy of like it helping with the ammo economy and making it so you die to scavs less frequently because they have worse ammo. So that's a win too. So that's the last thing. So dude, it's a big, long, complicated topic. The armor hitboxes, dude, half of the entire patch notes almost are them like breaking down the ammo thing. It's complicated. I still don't understand a lot of it. There are plates that are for specific armors. There are universal plates. I haven't done a whole lot of plate swapping in raid. Like you said, we have to see how the ammo economy is. We have to see how the recoil goes as we get more moddable guns. It's really hard to determine how the time to kill is going to flesh out, but I've been pleasantly surprised at the armor hitboxes. Okay, not at the hitboxes. I think I just hate the hitboxes. I've been pleasantly surprised by the armor change, and I think, and my early opinions of the ammo changes are that I like them. Now, before we move on, because there's more to talk about, and we got a blaze story because there's arena stuff to talk about and stuff. I do want to take a second and thank the sponsor of this episode, and that is Factor. With the busy fall season already in swing, you might be looking for some wholesome, convenient meals. Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, which can help you fuel up fast for breakfast, lunch, or dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. Factor is awesome. You know,
Dude, I'm not a huge breakfast guy. But when I discovered their breakfast, dude.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god! Holy crap! Waifu making I had the gingerbread spiced pancakes.
Oh shoot!
Oh my god, dude! And they got apple cinnamon I mean, I love pancakes. I'm a pancake guy.
Yeah.
Oh, there's just so much good stuff. Being able to like, either if my wife makes it or, you know, I'm lazy in the morning. So being able to just make it super fast, super quick. I don't have to mess around with pots and pans.
Just heat it up and eat it. Yeah,
Oof.
we talk about that all the time. I mean, I've been in here freaking gaming 12 hours a day, and really I've been spending $60 a day on DoorDash and stuff because I just don't have any food. So like when we have Factor, when it's there, it's so nice that it's going to be good. It's good portion, and it's literally all you have to do is heat it up and eat it. They have all sorts of like seasonal flavors. They've got pecan chicken, apple Dijon pork chops, all sorts of stuff ready in 2 minutes. They have the convenience factor is a huge thing. You can choose options that are 550 calories per serving, calorie smart options. You can choose what type of food you want. You can choose how many meals you want a week. You can take a week off and then hop back on. It's not like it's not like quitting the gym. You can be like, oh, I'm going to be out of town. Boom, skip this week. Super simple, super convenient. Consumer choice is always awesome. And so it's cool, man. It's cool. And we love it, and we've used it a lot. So you can head to factormeals.com/podcast50 and use code PODCAST50 to get 50% off. That is code PODCAST50 at factormeals.com/PODCAST50 to get 50% off. Thank you so much to Factor for sponsoring this episode. Okay. Dude, let's talk about the next thing on the patch notes. Vaulting. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, it's been nice. It was a massive letdown in arena because there's nothing to vault on.
I was wondering about that. I was
Like all
wondering
of
about
those
that.
boxes that like there have been times where you jump from something where high and you go to jump on a box and there's like an invisible wall. As
Mhm.
far as I can tell, none of those. Maybe hopefully they remove them, but then if they do, well, now there's like 97 more like snipe spots and angles and stuff that they'd
Mhm.
have to like adjust for. So it was kind of a letdown in
That kind
arena.
of makes sense. That kind of makes sense.
Um, but in the main game itself, yeah, it's been phenomenal. It's been really smooth, and I was
Ugh.
assuming it was going to be awkward. Like if there's one of those little fences and you're running at like a kind of a shallow angle, I'm like, there's no way it's gonna. They just go right over it. I'm like, oh, like it was pretty nice.
Yeah,
I haven't really had many issues with it.
dude. So they break it up into two things, and I'm glad they do because I actually like one more than the other. The climbing, which is just I climb up onto a thing and I'm up here now. And
Yep.
vaulting, which is I vaulted over a thing, out a window, over a fence. Vaulting is S plus tier. Vaulting is the one of the most impactful and one of the best implemented changes in this video game of all time. I'll stand by that. I've played 40 hours in the past 3 days. The amount of fences on Streets of Tarkov or on customs or something where you need level 28 strength to jump over it. Bloop, bloop, bloop. You vault
Yeah.
over it. I've got a car battery on me. I got to walk all the way down here, get around the fence, walk all the way back, or try to jump and throw my backpack over. Vault over. Vaulting,
Yeah.
the vaulting side of that is so unbelievably good. It's so quick. You can vault out of in the ETS, you couldn't vault in or out on any of the windows and dorms. It made me so mad. They fixed it. You can vault out of all the windows and dorms. All this stuff, if it's a window, you have to break the window and then you can vault out. I wish you could like vault and it would break the window, but you have to break the window first.
Like PUBG back in the day
Yeah,
was
yeah.
so satisfying.
So like the vaulting is so clean, it's so usable, it's so quick, and it's so like it dude it I people are gonna think I'm being dramatic. It changes how I traverse the maps. It's just like you can just vault over stuff and it's so fast and it's so nice. And then climbing is a little bit more awkward. Okay.
It's slow.
It's a little bit
I'm-
slower.
It feels like opening a door back in the day where it's just like
Yeah. The heavier you
animation on
are,
MP4.
the slower the climb too.
Mhm.
And that's the one where like I've been so like you can be in a full sprint and vault over something, but if you're in a full sprint, you won't climb. You have to.
Yeah.
So I've tried to do that where I run and then I run into the thing and then I stop and then I climb. So I have to get in the thing of you when you're running up to something, you let go of shift. You start walking, then you hit the thing and you'll climb right up. You can make it smooth, but it was a little bit clunky at first. The biggest W of climbing of all time, dude, is it consumes arm stamina, not leg stamina.
Yeah, that's massive.
Oh, I don't think you can do it if your leg stamina is in the red. Like I think you have to have green leg stamina in order to do it. But it takes
Interesting.
arm stamina. I think that's such a W. It's quiet too. Somebody just brought up. It's not like like when you're climbing up onto a thing and you make a bunch of noise. It's so valuable, dude. It's so nice. The climbing up onto things, you can climb up onto things that you can't jump onto with level 51 strength, which
Yeah.
once again makes traversing the map and interacting with it. The fact that as a level 1 PMC, I can climb up onto a ledge that I couldn't jump onto as a level 50, it just is so good, dude. I was super excited about it going into it and it exceeded my expectations. It's good. The only thing is, I actually moved the vault button off of spacebar and put it on V. I moved my melee because I never use my melee. Because what I hated, vaulting feels really good on space. The only thing is, I hated that in order to have two binds on the same key, one of them has to be set to the release. And I hated jumping having a delay. You know how when there's two binds on it? Oh my God, I couldn't handle that. So I had to pull vaulting off so that I could put jump on press. And now I have to kind of work my brain to vault when I want to vault, but it's going to be so much better because I know when I want to jump and I can jump and there's no delay. And then when I want to vault, I can vault. And it's been pretty nice.
Interesting. I gotta look at what the defaults are because like I just kind of have been like, it's been a little clunky,
Yeah.
but like both jumping and climbing have been a little bit, and it might be that I thought that the binds are like backwards. Like
Yeah.
like maybe the jumping is the by default is it on release space jump?
Now it is. Yeah. It
Oh.
didn't used to be. It used to be on press. So when you would press jump.
Yeah, people were saying like so people were complaining, and I think their complaints like poisoned because
Yeah.
I was under the impression that jump was on press still, and that like you had to hold space to climb, like it was on continuous.
So correct. Climb is on continuous, but jump is on release.
Wait, so then what's on press?
Nothing.
Why?
Because you can't have an action on press and another action on continuous. Because if I have something on press, as soon as I actuate it down, it completes the action. So it doesn't know to look for anything. So that's the thing. In the Tarkov controls,
There's not a continuous timeout. There's a double click timeout.
Correct.
Right.
So jump is on
awkward.
Yeah, so jump is on release now. So I moved vaults to V because the way my thumb hits the spacebar, I hit with my thumb knuckle pretty much, not the tip. So literally I rest the tip of my thumb on V, basically normally. So I have vault on V and then jump on space, and it's much better. It's much better because I have more control over it. But like the fattest, hugest, girthiest veiniest W of all time, dude, is freaking vaulting. I love it so much in this game. And that's coming from when dude, a year ago, somebody was like, you think they're adding vaulting? I would go, ha ha ha, no, that would be awful.
I'm sure I said something along the lines of like, I will sell my house, donate it to Twitch chat if they ever had vaulting, LOL, you're all brain dead. I'm sure I said something along those lines.
Yeah. So like coming from that, and now I think it's like one of the biggest dubs of all time. So next thing is the shoulder swap, the ability to swap from your left or from your right to your left shoulder. Have you tried that at all?
Oh, I've been using it a ton in arena, and it's
beautiful in my opinion.
It is. There's a couple things. Most of the time, it feels really smooth when you like go around a corner, swap. You can swap, almost kind of get into a rhythm.
Yep.
And although with some guns and some optics, it's like busted. So
yeah.
I finally made it to the. Okay, I was totally wrong, by the way. I'm on the G28 and or TX in the marksman tree.
Okay, in arena.
Yep, the TX, I was like, this is going to be god tier. It's actually not amazing because SSA AP just like does like 30 something damage.
Yes. Yeah.
The G28, even though it has the ACOG, which is, I like it a lot, but it's a little clunky for like mid range, whatever. Yep. The G28 kit is rad, dude. I literally see the alting guy pop in the head, he's down. I'm like, yes. It feels so good. And what's good about I probably shouldn't talk about this just yet, but it has the Comtac 4s and it has good meds, whereas the TX kit has Swordens and it has a Grizzly, and it's like, I don't have 4 years in an arena match.
Yeah.
I get a break and 3 heavy bleeds, and it's like, see you guys in April. You know what I mean? Like, when I'm trying to clutch a 1v3. So unfortunately, that kit shooting water balloons doesn't really, it's shooting like hornets. It just feels like it pisses people off. But the G28 kit, first of all, when you shoulder and you ADS, some of the scopes is like real nice. It's like old voodoo that's like full screen. But with the ACOG on the G28, your head is like in the housing.
Gotcha.
So it like, depending on how your arms are moving, you see like the housing like kind of glitching out a little bit.
Interesting.
So it's a little distracting and a little janky. And then also like there's some awkwardness around like you go to a corner and it like sometimes it like switches automatically if you like walk into a corner.
Yeah. Yes. So that's my thing is I like the way they implemented it because they did make some concessions, but in the name of fluidity, which I think the game needs. But one of those concessions is they didn't want to reanimate anything, right? So anytime your gun needs to go into an animation, it switches back. And one of those animations is what's it called? When you butt up to a wall.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get too close to a wall, it switches to your right and then butts up. And then when you back up,
which is like 98% of the time you want to swap is when you're going to get close to a wall.
Cover. Yes. So that's been the only downside for me. If there's one animation I'd like them to go back and do, it's just that. I just wish we could get wall pushed. I don't freaking know what it's called. On a left shoulder. That's the only thing for me, because everything else, like if you reload, he'll pull it to the right side and do that. Or if you take an optic off, that's fine. I'm cool with that. But just the being pushed up into the wall, that you feel like you're in a circle because like, you back up and you're like doing this weird thing. That's a little weird.
Yeah, but overall, I really like it. I think it feels good when it's not a little janky because of there's an infinite combination of things. There's actually something that I gotta make sure we talk about that is mega broken, and it's actually like super concerning. I gotta make sure we talk about it.
Okay. So I think overall left shoulder shooting is really nice as well. I think it feels really good. It feels really good. Like not only to hold an angle, that's where a lot of people are thinking, like you hold an angle, it's so much tighter. Me and Seal did a back and forth where like I had him on the right shoulder. I was like, okay, how tight can you peek this angle and still see me? And then I switched and I took screenshots and it was like a really difference. You know what else feels really good though? Walking up to an angle pre-left side on a point fire. Like if you're pre-firing around a left corner, just being able to reach around that corner and pre-fire someone as you're pushing in a point fire stance feels mince, bro.
To me, that's the point of it.
Yeah.
And I recognize that it's better to swap and then ADS when you're holding the left angle. But to me, it doesn't feel any different because it doesn't look any different.
Correct. It doesn't look any different from your perspective. I'm
just kind of like assuming I'm less bad than before, but without ever knowing, you know what I mean?
Correct.
But you actually get a super tangible benefit when your muzzle is not blocked and like it's huge.
It's so nice. Yeah. So so that was a W. That was a W. I think they could just make it so when I butt up to a wall, it stays on my left shoulder. But other than that, huge W. Huge W. They added the ammo loading preset, which I don't think I'll ever use.
I saw that and I'm like, wow, this is so complicated.
But it's really cool in my opinion.
It's so cool. When people were talking about like, I really want to be able to customize, I'm like, you recognize they're gonna have to have this crazy intricate UI to get this thing, and then they did. And it's like, what? There's so many other UIs I wish that they would implement that I would I would just say, I want to recommend they do this, but they never would because it's so complicated.
Yeah.
Like I wish they spent that much time on like your squad UI
or the quick
in
sell
like arena
feature.
Or the quick sell feature or a million other things that a million people use a million times a day. But it's cool. I'm not going to poo-poo them.
Exactly. That's where I'm at. It's like, I agree. I would have loved that time given to one of those features that would increase quality of life. But I looked at it and I was like, wow. I was like, this is sick. If you want to do that, if you want to this many rounds on the bottom, you want tracers at the bottom so you know you're almost out of ammo. If you want like high pen up front and high damage on down below, like they really thought about how you would interact with that. And if you mess up, being able to just like swap, like I was like, damn, this is cool. I don't think I'll ever use it, but W, it's a net positive for the world because if you're interested in it, that's sick. I didn't use the preset system a single time last wipe. I'm glad it's in the game, but like,
just wait. This is going to be the new rain dance that the community does, where it's like, bro, ever since I stacked my mags in this fucking I started winning fights when it was like actually the recoil and the hitboxes. Right. Like,
or like, remember when people were like, if you put one of every ammo in your mag, you would cause the server to stutter. So people were like loading one at a time.
And now all stutters are going to be blamed on that.
Yeah. That was funny. Okay, next thing, the biggest thing, dude. The new recoil. How you feeling about it?
I mean, listen, I was right. I've always been right. I've never not
I've
been
never
right.
been wrong in my entire life. Dude. W. Fat, girthy, veiny W.
Yeah, in arena, dude, I was as long as I wasn't playing against, like 5 gods, way more geared than me, I was just owning. I was 1v4ing. I got like 5 clutches yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I was like, this is the first time I've had a day of Tarkov where it's been all fun.
Oh, wow.
Like, there was like 1 or 2 games that were a little AIDSy, but it was frustrating for like other reasons. The gameplay, I felt like old me 2018, 2019. It was fantastic, especially now that I have the contact 4s too, because I can actually hear and I have good ammo and I can, dude, the G28, it's just like,
dude,
it's not like anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so sweet.
Now, here's the thing. I completely agree. I think it's so good. Did you see my tweet? It was an excerpt pulled from my video on the recoil. I recorded. I have an alt account where I do challenges sometimes. I reset the alt account. So in level 1, I bought every gun I could buy. I bought the Keter, I bought the SKS, I bought an AK-74U, I bought an M4, and I recorded all the old recoil level 1, level 0 skills. And then I did that.
I saw the video.
And then I did that on wipe day. And then, okay, so what my tweet was...
I remember I had the idea, and you're like,
oh, yes.
And I was like...
You were like, gotcha. Somebody really should record. I was like,
shut the... Yeah, I was literally waiting for you to do the video because of that.
So the tweet was just an excerpt from that end where it was the side-by-side comparison of a few of the guns. Dude, that tweet went viral, like for me.
359,000 views?
Yes. And, dude, and some of the most common comments... Don't read them because the freaking negative ones go to the top and they fry your brain. Constant. I had like 300 quote tweets.
Everything's going to be laser beams. This is what the community wanted to avoid, dude. It's just going to be back to the thing, and then all the streamers are going to complain, and it's just going to be
exactly. But the most common quote tweet or like response was like, "I didn't realize how bad it was," and that was so vindicating because going into it, the people that were apprehensive about a new recoil system were apprehensive for that reason. They were like, I don't want all the guns in the game to be laser beams. And in my head, I'm like, if you could only see a side-by-side comparison of what I'm talking about, what I want, and what we have, I feel like you would change your mind. And the amount of people that were like, holy Christ, it was so bad before, I didn't realize, because you can see the difference. It's just like, I can understand, I can give empathy and try to get down to the kernel, the nugget of truth of like people who are saying, okay, I'm worried that all the guns are going to be too laser beamy now. We're going to talk about that in a second. And while I, potentially disagree, I can understand that. What I can understand is if you can watch that video and defend the old recoil system. If you are concerned that the new recoil system may have some issues, that I can get behind. But how could anybody call this game realistic with that recoil system? Like, it was atrocious, dude. It just like, it really showed how much, what I love about the new system is how many of the guns you can feel a backward motion. And not the like, I don't have a shoulder, my hands just do this. So,
like I was saying 2 weeks ago after coming back from Texas.
Yeah, 100%. Like I was saying when I got back from Brownells, like, we've all been, everyone who's ever shot a gun. And once again, I truly don't care about realism either. But as a gameplay mechanic, how recoil realistically functions is valuable, right? Like, that's why every game ever has made their guns that way. So the side-by-side, I think, really helped a lot of people see, specifically with semi-auto and burst firing, how much better it is now on all the guns, and it's so nice. And then full auto, I was having a conversation with somebody. I was having a good faith conversation with somebody earlier today about the like, man,
Impossible.
yeah. He was like, in a few months, it's going to be full auto meta. It's going to be all these, the guns are going to have all the good attachments. And, I don't think it's going to change. And I was having a good faith conversation. And I was like, what I feel like a lot of the people that are hating on the new recoil are missing is that they're not at all shooting the new guns, the new way, in full auto. They're seeing semi-auto taps, and they're comparing it to the old full auto recoil, and they're like, wow, everything's a laser beam now. ARs and above, so like an AKM, an M4, a 308 MDR, are really hard to control at full auto right now if your target's like 20 meters away. Close quarters, right, spray and pray, always. 20 to 40 meters away, it's really hard to control. You get the complete opposite of what we had. You get 5 or 6 shots that are really accurate, and then you get some pretty gnarly horizontal shake. And if your target is far enough away that it's actually hard to control.
I haven't tried that. I'm going to do that in offline right now.
Dude, yeah, pick something 24, like get like an AKM or something. The M4 is actually pretty nice, but like get like an AKM or an AK-74 UB. It feels like it should be. Like the longer you're now, the good faith conversation is this all is under the umbrella of we actually do have to wait and see what the meta attachments are like, right? If I get like a meta M4 and it reduces all that horizontal recoil and it's a laser beam, I'm not going to want that either. Like, I don't think anybody, including the people that are celebrating the new recoil system, want level 50 Chads to have guns that have no recoil at any distance. I hated the old HK.
So here's the thing that everybody seems to forget.
Yeah.
There was always some amount of guns in the game that that had no recoil.
Yeah.
It just so
there has
happened,
never been not that. Yeah.
So when people are like, I don't want laser beams, or we have laser beams, what they're saying is, I only want the level 59 dudes who spend 1 million rubles every raid building the same one of 3 meta guns to have laser beam recoil, and everybody else has fake arms.
Exactly.
Stuck on with chewing gum.
Exactly.
Shooting guns for the first time in their entire life.
Exactly. There have always been laser beams.
I would rather have all of the guns for everybody be shootable, and be controllable, than only a subset.
Yep.
So if they're arguing against laser beams, then okay, then nothing should be a laser beam.
Yeah.
And everything, like, the only coherent argument I've heard that I disagree partially with, for practical reasons, because I don't want BSG to change anything because it's good now, and I'm just afraid that they change anything, it'll just be bad again, like it was, but was Desmond basically saying, I think he wants kind of like what, not Modern Warfare 3, whatever the one before that had DMZ that I played, that I was gonna do a recoil video on at the time, but then just like where that has a decent amount of recoil, but it's predictable.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a pattern. So you're just constantly pulling down, or like constantly pulling down and to the right. So you have to work for it, but it's at least masterable and controllable. He wants that.
Yeah. What we have now is closer to that than what we used to have, but it's not there. And that's what I did, because in all of my testings, that I did the side-by-side video, I didn't control the mouse at all. So with all the guns on the new recoil, I held it to 1, I just pressed mouse 1, and all of the guns have a much higher vertical climb. Like, okay, not much higher. It used to be shot 1, shot 2, shot 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, okay? Now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then it just sits here. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I agree with Desmond. I wouldn't mind that. I think it would create a skill gap, and also creates a less reliance on full auto. I agree with that. If it just kept climbing. But Nikita has made it super clear that they're not getting rid of the PMC compensation. I agree with that take, but they're not going to get rid of that. But man, what was I saying? So like it depends on how the attachments work, right? But the guns that I'm using right now aren't. People see, dude, they just see me semi-tap. They see me go pop, 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 pop. They're like, laser beams. And I'm like, dude, flip it to full auto and let me try and shoot this scav. And I'm like, this is the point. I would want to conserve my ammo and use more accurate shots. This is better. Like, so.
Yeah. And when you see 2 PMCs running, zigzagging like this, and you have a Saiga, right? And you're like, it might even is maybe a laser beam, and yet I'm still missing half the shots because trying to track someone with the janky ass movement and whatever. Try combine that with terrible hit reg, net code, the jank ass running back and forth movement, jumping, whatever, and RNG recoil that's a lot harder to control, and you're just gonna get on right now. Everybody can compete if they can put their mouse on a head and adjust a little bit, which is what it should be. You're already fighting against 8 billion things in Escape from Tarkov. They need to remove the RNG, and they have, or at least reduced it to the point where it's not
a manageable amount of RNG. Where the RNG isn't the deciding factor in every fight.
Yesterday, I never once complained about weapon handling. Whenever I died, because it just never felt like it was always I'm whiffing. It wasn't where are my bullets going? What the fuck is my character doing? And that's a not toxic way to lose.
Correct. So correct. I agree.
I want to whiff.
I want to whiff, or I want to be like, damn, nice shot to that guy, right? And so and I also think it's relatively balanced in that like the MP5 is pretty laser beamy, but it's shooting 9 mil, right? So it's like, that's relatively, especially if I can't buy PvP or anything, like I think it feels to me so far that this steps up actually affect full auto performance. SMGs are pretty easy to control in full auto. ARs are relatively easy to control in full auto. And I haven't used many bigger guns, but at least in the ETS, the larger guns were kind of hard to control in full auto.
I'm in offline mode, and I have 2 guns. I have an M4 stock, and I killed a dude who was pretty geared out, and he had an AK-12.
Oh, okay.
It literally just has, I don't know what is even stock on this. I think it just has like a foregrip, basically.
Yeah.
The AK-12 actually feels incredible.
Yeah.
The M4 is like, and it has like the kind of like
starts doing the wiggle,
which I feel like it doesn't, I won't say it's realistic, but it doesn't feel unrealistic.
Yes. Yeah.
It feels really good to be able to go and have that be. It feels great. The first raid I did was the MP5, put it in burst mode, in factory iron sights, and just going dropping people running from 30 meters away, like because I'm hitting headshots. It felt fantastic. Now the AK-12, it all it has is a dot on top and a grip, and it has enough like where if someone's far away and they're a small little guy on your screen, you can't just full auto spray them down. It's got enough of this that it's gonna be tough, which is totally realistic. That's the hard part. The hard part is not the macro controls, it's the
micro controls. Exactly. When you're full autoing a gun in real life, you never go, where's the guy I'm shooting at? Because you're looking up, which is what old Tarkov recoil was. You can see the target. It's just keeping it on that exact spot is kind of rough. So that's what this feels like. Full autoing appears to be laser beamy. I contest only because we've been blinded. Like, it appears to be laser beamy because what we've been used to is just like freaking, I don't know, Parkinson's. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't think it's as laser beamy as people think. I think, and then here's the thing. Even if it's as laser beamy as people think, if it's harder to get the good ammo and semi-auto and burst firing isn't AIDS, wouldn't you still just rather burst them down to conserve your ammo. If somebody's 40 meters away and you're full autoing them, like, do you really think you're going to hit that many more shots than just going bam, 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 bam in, like, you know what I mean? So even if technically it is a little laser beamy, which I don't think it's as laser beamy as people think, but even if I give that to them and say it is, if the ammo's harder to come by and you want to conserve your ammo, you don't want to have to repack after every engagement. Once again, I feel like we're just super used to bad habits. You have to repack mags after every single engagement. We just, like, I think you'll just come to want to tap fire more because you can just put, it's not AIDS. You can put pretty accurate shots on people. So that's what I think.
Wait a month or two when people are using the meta stuff. And here's the thing. People are going to forget that there were plenty of meta guns that had no recoil beforehand. People are now going to be moaning that more guns are controllable when before it was only a subset that were unavailable to most people if they didn't have the trader levels, if they didn't have the money. And now you don't need the trader levels of money to have things that are manageable and controllable. And now we're going to, like, the fact that a stock M4 feels so goddamn good means now I can mod guns and they look cool.
Yes.
And I don't have to make one gun that looks lame and performs well. Now I can have a ton of guns that look cool and I can actually role play. You know, like all of my, I always had to basically have AIDS guns whenever I wanted to do cool.
Every time, 2 months from now, when people are going to be like, dude, like, they're going to be like, all we have is laser beams now. I liked it better when we didn't have laser beams. I'm just going to pull up Desmond videos. Like, you know what I mean? Like, using the, with any amount of recoil control skill and use, I mean, not saying that he's bad, he's amazing, but like, and then pulling up a meta freaking thing, laser beam. Like, the argument that will come, which is that we have laser beams now we didn't used to, I liked it better before, will be very easy to debunk. I'll just go back to an old VOD of me. It's in the hideout with an M4. Like, I could put all 60 rounds on the small target in the back. Like,
and think about Arena. Remember how Arena, what was most annoying to me were the either the RPK or even the foul point fire from Arena range. It didn't matter if it had a bunch of recoil. You were going to get one tapped with it no matter what. The MPX laser beam, that AK with the 7 and 40 was a laser beam. And now guess what? When the all-thing guy turns the corner, I've got my DMR and I go headshot, 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 headshot. Now he dies because I can hit him with a headshot because it's not bang. Okay, latitude, longitude. Where the am I?
GPS coordinates.
Let me. Where's the wind turning? Oh, I'm dead. Right. So what it's done is it's equalized it to the point where so many more guns are manageable instead of just an annoying subset, which is the whole point.
And that goes back to what we were talking about with like Ground Zero when I was saying we're going to talk about this later. And so the two things I'll say is, one, just like the armor hit or the ammo thing, I can give you my opinion based on what I've tested now. I really like it right now. Like I said, in good faith, I acknowledge that it might be overtuned and it might need adjustments at the top end when all of those attachments are in the game, right? Like I can.
That's true, but don't say it.
No,
that's true, but don't say it. Don't give him that, because Nikita will go, oh, okay, cool, ring it back 98%, and then I'll quit the game again.
But here's the thing. But here's what I was saying. It goes back to the, like, when we're talking about Ground Zero, I'm like, even if Ground Zero isn't the perfect new map, we end up in a world as a net positive. Like, because I was having that exact argument. I mean, you just made it, but he was like, man, all guns are just going to end up like the meta at the top end is just going to be full auto laser beaming meta. And I'm like, okay, I disagree with you. Let's say you're 100% right. Would you rather live in a world where the meta at the top end is full auto laser beamy guns and every other gun is AIDS, or a world where the meta at the top end is 5 guns are laser beamy and every other gun in the game is usable? And semi-auto is fun on every gun. And noobs can actually hit shots. And he was like, fair point. You know what I mean? So it's like, even if you concede the entire argument, even if I say you're right, every meta gun is going to be a laser beam, that world is still better than the world we had 72 hours ago. Because they were still laser beamy guns at the top end. So it's like, I don't know. I'm not saying it is or isn't because I don't have a meta M4 yet. But I'm saying even if it is, every other gun in the game is just more fun to use now. So I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. But it just still feels like a net positive. Even if at the top end it's an L, it still feels like a net positive.
You know why it feels that way? Because it is.
Yeah, it is. And so I agree. I think and I hope that what they've done is modified some of the attachments so the disparity between them isn't like, this is the perfect patch to do what we've said a million times, where it's like, normalize all the attachments. Like, you know what I mean? Make like, instead of one meta suppressor, make 11 and reduce the thing. So now make attachments less effective than they were before. And before you yell at me, you can make them less effective as they were before because the base guns are more effective than they were before. Now what you end up with is an attachment system that does help your gun. It helps at a relatively small amount, and you build guns similar to in real life, if you want to go the realistic way, the way you like them. Do you like long barrel? Do you like short barrel? Do you like suppressed? Do you like unsuppressed? Do you like flashlight on the right, on the left? What kind of handguard do you like? Like, you know what I mean?
Make attachments great again. We should sell MAGA hats.
This is the wipe to do that. I hope they did it. But and then the other thing that and I get, you know, maybe people don't believe BSG on everything they say. I certainly don't. But the other thing is the important thing here is they mentioned this in the ETS and they mentioned it here in the patch notes. The new recoil mechanic now includes a variety of flexible settings, allowing for balance adjustments based on analytical data and player feedback. So what I hope that means is if we're like, oh, damn, if in 2 weeks, you know, if in a week Rengar gets level 60 and we're like, oh, dude, the freaking juice cannon is a laser. It's got 50 rounders, M62. It's just like, that's what everyone's going to use. If they've designed the system in such a way that they can be like, oh, man, like, we did a balance pass on all 308 guns. The SA-58's a little overtuned. We can tune that back without having to break everything else they've done. That will also be a W. And so that's what I'm hoping for.
I mean, yeah, dude. 5,000,000%.
So, all right. The Lightkeeper services.
Oh, off.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll never. It'll be a miracle, dude. If I ever see Lightkeeper, it'll be a miracle.
Yeah. The Zerachi support and the Rogue support seem to be both the way it's worded. Like you have to use them in that raid, which kind of is weird. The other thing you can get from him is called a Sacred Amulet. And if you have that amulet on in a raid, cultists will not attack you. So that's like an item you get from him and then take to another raid. I found that pretty interesting.
Okay.
You can view player profiles. So now when someone kills you, you can view their profile and see their survival rate and stuff like that.
I've already seen, like, I go to my Twitter feed and it's just posts of screenshots of people that get ready. I'm just ready for the like witch hunt meta over like now we're gonna know based on certain specific stats if someone's cheating or not, even though some subset of them, I'm sure a lot of these people with X stat or Y number value for whatever, people have determined that 100% means cheating. If that was the case, then I mean that would be really easy for BSG to just program those thresholds, right? Maybe there's a reason why it's not 100%. You know, like the one guy that goes to the one South African server and plays on a map that no one plays on, and all he does is farm, hatchet run, shoreline, you know, whatever, and he has a bajillion things and he's never died. And because he has a 90 something, whatever. Yeah, but I will say that there were a few times I died, pulled up someone's profile and looked at the stats and were like, this looks totally normal, you know, like 51% survival rate, you know, like I'm like, okay, like no reason to think this. But again, there are also plenty of people that cheat that are just dog. Yeah, they're bots. Yeah, and
or people that tank their SRs, like
So I don't know, like
I think it's more just cool. I don't think it really has any effect on the cheating situation because
I like that it's in the game. Yep. I'm just preemptively rolling my eyes for it's going to be the new thing that everybody just died to another guy with a Chinese name and he's got 900 billion raids and he's got 6 hours in the game and he's got, you know, like, okay, we get it, you know, like fuck, Jesus.
I agree. They changed the ammo. They changed it, adjusted the barter, adjusted a lot of barters, adjusted the availability of armor. They expanded crest rewards. You will now be rewarded with more things. Oh, this is an interesting one. Oh no. I accidentally hit quote section or whatever, and it took me to the bottom. They changed some quests, and they're simple ones, and they make a lot of sense. You know the quest setup? I've complained about this literally every single wipe. You have to wear the Ushanka and the scav vest and kill people on customs with a shotgun.
Yep.
Okay. I always mauled about how you don't get that quest until you're level 38 when you finally have unlocked some traders and you actually have some guns and you can't use them, right? Because it's like, haha, go use the shotgun. You get set up at level 18 now. You do Friend from the West Part 2, then you get set up, then you get Informed Means Arm, then you get Chumming, then you get Silent Caliber. So much better. I think that's awesome. And then they adjusted some of the Punisher tasks to move them around to some other maps. Like one of the Punisher tasks is the same thing. It's just kill scavs on reserve instead of shoreline because there were like 8 shoreline ones in a row. Tarkov Shooter Part 4 was one of the ones where it was just like get to this level sniper skill and everybody would just sit in bushes and reload Mosins. Now that's just like get 4 kills on PMCs from 80 meters away. I don't even think they have to be headshots. I think it's just kills. So it's like, okay, snipe instead of sit in a bush and reload your Mosin. Balancing changes to crafting, adjusted
Wait, did they ever change? You get, did I dream this, that you get different XP for where you're hitting with your sniper rifle?
No, you don't get different XP. You get the same, which is why shooting legs is still...
I literally dreamt it, dude. I unironically had a dream where it was like you get 25 XP for a headshot, you're 2500 XP. Dude, oh god, dude, this is like the third thing in the last like 3 weeks that I've dreamt about Tarkov.
Yikes.
And that's problematic.
Yikes. Adjusted the armor crafts. Oh yeah, you need plates to craft armors. Adjusted ammo crafts, reduced the production time and the costs of cheap ammunition. So they're trying to incentivize crafting the cheaper ammunition. I don't know what they've done at the top end for the better ammunition. You know, this one was funny because it's like so vague. I'm glad they did it. It was like, you know, the damage and armor penetration parameters of different caliber ammunitions have been revised and adjusted. So it's like, oh, geez. You know,
yeah, Battle Buddy knows.
That could be, yeah. This was an interesting thing. Balancing changes to muzzle devices. Muzzle devices have been rebalanced. Suppressors, muzzle adapters, flash hiders, and compensators have all been adjusted. I'm hoping there's the meta attachments will be...
Say something 3 times without saying anything at all. We adjusted, we made adjustments.
I'm hoping that means muzzle adapters and compensators are the best in slot for recoil, but then suppressors might be more valuable to you because you're solo and you want to stay silent, right? That's what I'm hoping. The BTR on streets. Have you seen any of the Twitter clips of this, dude?
Negative.
Brother, it's so cool. It's so cool. You hear it.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. That was another thing that we were begging for years.
Yeah. They freaking, dude, the BRT just rolls around. It sits at a stop for like 1 to 2 minutes. And then whether you've paid him or not, he moves on and he goes to the next stop. And what you do is it can fit 4 people inside. And you, so you don't interact with it outside. You walk up to it and you press F on it. And dude, it's such a sick animation. You claw open the door, you put your hand on the top and you get in and you close the door behind you. And then from inside, you can talk to the driver. And what you can ask him to do is...
Heard any rumors?
Yeah, there actually is what's the news. There's an actually, yeah, literally. I think it's just like a meme.
Yeah, I've got rats in my basement that you need to slay 30 rats.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
please come back and I'll give you a health potion.
And then you can say like, you know, what services do you offer? And you can travel to another location on the map and it'll show you, and it's like, depending on how far you away, it's how many rubles. It's all between like 6 and 8K rubles. And you can get in and he'll take you to another part of the map. You can pay for covering fire, which means like when you get to the location you're going, it'll just shoot at anything like player scavs,
Anything not you?
PMCs, anything not you, if you pay for it.
Can't wait till that bugs out.
Yeah, yeah.
You pay for it, and then he just one taps you.
Yeah.
All right.
And then there's the move items to stash. Now here's the thing. It is a little bit of an L. It's not as cool as I wanted it. It's literally 8 slots. That's all you can move. 8 slots. So
I suppose for quest items,
yes, it's incredibly valuable.
You get like a LEDX. I don't want to leave because I got a LEDX and like a a roller or whatever.
Or I'm here to do this
take
quest.
Care of it.
Yeah.
And then yeah.
So that is how it is. It's really nice for quest items, but it's not going to be super valuable later on, which is what I hoped it would be. You know what I mean? Like a reason to stay in the raid. But it's still really cool. You pay him for that. You drag items into those 8 slots, and depending on the value of the item is how much you pay. So like I saw a clip of Rengar. He had a Fountain Raid Salua, a Fountain Raid Gas Analyzer, like a roller, and like a few other treasure items. And it was like 30,000 rubles to transfer all that to your stash.
Okay. I was afraid it was going to be 80% of the.
Yeah.
You're going to pay 1.8. Wait. Okay. Do you have to have the cash on you?
Yes. So
I hate bringing cash into raids.
So now you need to be bringing like 100K into a streets raid. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. The difference between 1 ruble and 100,000 rubles is nothing, right? It's just until you get like I don't even like carrying wallets.
Yeah, like a docs case or a SIG case.
Yeah, but yeah, until you get one of those. Yeah, okay.
But it's really cool.
Listen, W's or W's.
And the thing is that the transport is sick. I spawned as a scav. I found 8,000 rubles on a dead scav. I had a quest item I needed on me. Because we're so low karma, streets is so big, and when you're low karma, you don't have all the extracts available to you. So the extract is on the other side of the map. I literally got into the BTR, paid him with the 8,000 rubles I found into the raid, and he took me to my extract, and I got out with the quest item, and it was the sickest experience ever.
Are you like, dude, that was us going to the shooting range at TwitchCon?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
The Hummers just like rolling through traffic.
100%.
So are you at risk at all of dying during that process?
You because you're not interacting with them outside, you just get in. I mean, you can be shot while you're getting in, and then you're in the whole time, and you're just like sitting in the thing and like bouncing around, and then you pop out. If you're in and you haven't asked him to do anything, when his timer gets up, he just kicks you out. Like you just pop out, like if you don't have money or something. Also, it will kill you if it runs you over. Sealable did some science for us. It will kill you if it runs
by that, I'm assuming it touches you and you just
crumple to death. Yes.
It doesn't like, although there is, okay, wait, I hope it has to play the one voice line that I hear like 80% of the time for some reason, which is like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, dude, at first I thought it was someone voiping that.
Yeah.
Like in arena.
Oh, yeah. So, it's so sick, man. The BTR is really, really cool. The BTR is neutral to all players unless a player starts attacking it, then it'll kill you. Or if someone purchases covering fire, the BTR becomes hostile.
Oh my God. So wait, you can like roll up to it without knowing if it's aggroed or not?
Yeah.
Oh no.
So there's
dude,
that.
Sucks.
The BTR is really cool.
It doesn't like glow red. Like it should have a light on the front that's like turns red.
That actually
after
would
you do
sick.
that.
Yeah, that would be sick.
Otherwise, you're gonna be like, "Oh, sick! Here's my rat." It's gonna go like, you know, like.
Yep. And then last few things here, the visual effect of the painkillers has been changed. It's weird, but I like it. It's the best of the 3 options we've had. I think the transition from color to no color is too stark. It's 8 pixels roughly between full color and black and white. I think if it took that and did a gradient and just pulled the saturation out at the edge, it wouldn't be so jarring. But
I took that in the tent, the new like medical tent in factory. There's the yellow suit, and I was doing this, and it was just like a hard line where it's like yellow, white, yellow, white, and it was like, wow, jarring, but it's way better.
But it's way better. Like, I was rejoicing. You get like, have you noticed towards the end of your painkiller, right when it starts to wear off, then you get like a boom where your vision goes blurry for like a second and then pulls back.
No,
so you get a little
cool.
bit of the vision blur, but it's not at the beginning, which is important because if you're taking painkillers, you need to be in the fight, right? And then it doesn't do the sharpening or the freaking blurry vision. It just pulls some color out around the edges, and it's so much better.
That's been an annoying thing that I'm looking forward to them getting into arena, because I'm on marksman, most of the time these days, and I'm sitting there sniping, and it's like it's already hard enough to have like peripheral vision. Now it's like I explicitly don't, because you start and you go, every raid. That's the other best part of the G28 kit is that all I need to do, I take it has the ranging, the rangefinder.
Yeah.
I just drag it over it so it goes on the right side because I use it for the laser, obviously not for the range. But like otherwise, and the 2 stims are good stims, but they only last 60 seconds. So I use them. I don't pre-pain. So that's the other benefit is that like open up the thing, click and drag like one attachment, and I'm done.
Nice.
I actually hate the other kits where I'm like, move the flashlight, move the thing. It's too much at the beginning of every round. You know what I mean? Especially when you're playing Russian roulette, where at any point all of your clicks could be interrupted with a countdown starts. Your menu goes away, and you
shoot the dude in front of you. Yeah. And then they opened up a few new interiors on streets. Nothing crazy, just like a few places you walk by and you're like, I can go in here now. And it's cool. More stuff to loot, more filing cabinets and stuff like that, which is sick.
I hope they do that on the new map, because I was like, had the experience where I'm like, fake door. Fake door. Fake door. I'm dead. Sick.
Yeah.
New map is sick.
I agree. That was a criticism of streets at first, and it's come a long way. It's come a long way. So I hope they do that on the new map too, on Ground Zero. But dude, so that's the wipe. That is the Tarkov wipe. I really think this is one of the greatest, if not the greatest wipe of all time. And once again, I like the trolls are out there, you know what I mean? The people that are just like frustrated to be frustrated, that hate, X, Y, or Z. But the sentiment largely is that there may be some concerns about some features. I share some of those concerns about some of those features, but almost every single thing in this entire patch is in the W column. Some of them are like, couldn't have done it better myself. So I am so excited. To go back to what you were saying at the beginning, it has not rekindled my desire to do these quests again. Like, I am really just looking forward. Like, I didn't get Kappa last wipe. It was the first time I ever chose I don't want to get Kappa because I don't want to do these stupid quests. I was like, I'm going to take a wipe off, and I really think next wipe is going to be a really big wipe. 3 days in, I've already decided I'm not doing Kappa again. I am questing exactly as much as I need to get level 4 traders, and I am done, bro. Like, it is just...
And then it's going to be arena time.
I have no desire. No, but
I wonder how... I think that's going to be, like, the meta. Like when people would, like, some people are going to grind for the Kappa because the people want to see the grind for the Kappa. But like I feel like most people or at least I don't know, I kind of hope that the meta becomes you get all the level 4 traders, and the people that don't want Kappa will just go play arena. Because it's like,
I think that's what I'm gonna do.
If you don't care about the economy and you don't care about the quests, then to me, like, I don't want to go loot boxes all day. I want the combat. I want the excitement of the 1v4. You know what I mean? Like, and the worst part, to like dovetail into what you were saying, to me, the worst, most frustrating part of the wipe so far has been sitting in queue. Coming from arena, where arena is either instantly get into a game, and then get frustrated by have to wait like 3 minutes for loading loot and wait and finding server, where it's like, come on now, we're like, they really need to sort out the goddamn queuing and matchmaking in both games. They just need to figure it out. And maybe we should talk a little bit about arena and afterwards, or actually I don't even know how long we have. Actually, we're already over.
And we're already over, but we can talk about it. The last Tarkov thing that I was gonna say, because I did want to talk about arena a little bit, was on top of the fattest W wipe of all time. In the middle of the day today, we load into a raid and it's snowing. And it was the sickest. It was like
if you had bet me $100,000 whether they were going to put snow in Tarkov ever, I would have taken that bet yesterday.
I would have taken that bet 10 hours ago. I would have taken that bet never. And not only did they do it, but the attention to detail.
That's what got me to switch to Tarkov.
Yeah.
That single-handedly.
The attention to detail is insane. Not only did they do it, which I never thought they would. If I knew they were doing it, I would have bet you $100,000 it wasn't as good as what they did. Like it and just how they did it, man. The fact that people have been asking for snow maps for as long as I've been playing the game, since 2018. The fact that like they just turned it on, there was no patch. The fact that they replaced the rain weather with snow, it'll snow intermittently. The sound design of the footsteps crunching in the snow. The fact that all of the foliage in the area is dead, like you can't like sit in a bush anymore, like you can see through the bushes.
Yep, and the grass isn't annoying.
The grass isn't annoying. The visibility is insane.
When you're not flat, dude. I spawned on an interchange, instant flashbang, like
yeah. Well, that's because the lighting is awful. The visibility is really good. It sounds really good. It's just magical, dude. The fact that on the tops of all the duffel bags is a little white snow. The fact that
they're like next to a window.
Yes, that dude. I walked up in all the interiors are normal. I was in Big Red and I opened the Tarkov director's office key, and next to the window, the PC, half the desk and the windowsill have snow on it. And I was like, dude, oh my God. It was like magical, dude. I know it doesn't change anything, but like, dude, tracking people through like bleeds, heavy bleeds, it's so bright. You can see where somebody was like bleeding and where they went. Dude,
I wish there were footprints, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it's like I can understand that, like, dealing with how long they stay in and XYZ or whatever, but like, dude,
people are saying there's footprints. I kept looking and it looked like there were moments where I thought I saw footprints, but there weren't.
I don't think there are. We were in a 3-man and we were all looking down, like walking around in circles, and I don't think there were any footprints. I think sometimes it kind of like looks like there's like a weird thing in the snow and that looks like that was a footprint, but I don't think there are footprints.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love it. I love the sound of the ambiance of the footprints, the footsteps. Although with like contacts, I can't hear anything.
So loud. Yeah, it's too loud. Yeah.
Now I haven't heard an enemy on the snow yet.
Okay.
I gotten one outdoors fight on shoreline, and it was like 70 meters, and I had my pistol, and I think I shot the guy 700 times. I must have been whiffing. I don't know what happened, and then he just disappeared.
Yeah.
I couldn't find him, but so I just am walking, and I'm like, I can't hear anybody, and I feel like everybody can hear me.
Yeah.
TBD as to whether or not that's the case.
I mean, yeah, you definitely can hear like people far away, so it is broadcasting your location, but you can hear other people too. I think it is too loud, but that was just such a surprise, man. But yeah, another super surprising thing that happened, and we can do this quick, yeah, because we're 2.5 hours already. But like the day after the wipe, we get a big arena patch with a new map for Shootout, which I still haven't played Shootout a single time, and all those new mechanics, man. Like the recoil.
Not all of them. It doesn't have armor.
Oh,
but
true.
It has recoil,
vaulting, and left shoulder shooting.
Yep. Yeah, and it was all fantastic. The problem is that 99% of the community went and played the wipe.
Yeah. So
unless you're like low-ish elo, or squatted up,
it's hard to find games.
It's hard to find games. Yeah,
and
I don't know.
People are still just now getting access to Arena.
Apparently, everybody has it now. Everybody should have it.
Okay.
So if you don't have it, I don't know what to tell you, but Nikita said in the podcast, everybody
did he?
has it.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Which is what I was like, just if you don't have it, then you either need to check your email or whatever. I don't know, but no longer yell at streamers for not having access, because everybody should have access. Who is supposed to have access? But yeah, it's been massive W. I just hate waiting in queue, and so the real contentious thing is the matchmaking, because they made a change.
Yeah.
That it just doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
A bunch of people have come in and said it changed everything for them. A bunch of other people said like it's been amazing. Other people have said it's been terrible. For me,
Yeah.
it's the exact same thing. So let me put it to you this way. It shouldn't be the case that I queue up at 2800 ARP, or I'm just going to say ELO because I refuse to say ARP, that I queue up and I can't get into a game for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But if I queue up with 4 people from 1,000 ELO to 2,500, I get into a game in 1 second.
Yeah.
The game's okay with me playing with those people, just only if I know them.
Yeah.
Why not put me in with randos that, you know? So people defending the current system need to recognize that, like, you can still do it.
Exactly.
You just have to do it yourself. The game won't do it for you.
Yeah.
Really, in my opinion, they should do a thing where it's, you know, like they've done with like region stuff, where you look for 3 minutes. If you can't find anything, expand the search to like 1 server over, or 500 more ELO or whatever. I don't know. But the whole idea, what they changed was, now it takes into consideration the average purchase
meta
price,
points.
Oh, sorry,
MP.
the average gear score.
Yeah.
Of recent games. So I don't know what that means. If that's like everybody on your team, how many games? Because 1 game, could it be 5 games? To me, it not only does it not really make sense, because you might have been leveling up sniper. Like everybody's gonna go bull with their new marksman kit. They're level 1, and they're gonna like do that for a while, and then instantly queue up with their Alton kit on every other map, and they're going to be facing Timmy's, I guess.
Exactly.
The
super
problem,
weird.
Like, here's the thing. There's your gear and there's skill. There's ELO and gear score. People want both. There's I don't know, you would need like millions and millions and millions and millions of people playing. You need an infinite number of people to put you with 9 other players that all have similar gear and skill to you, because there are people that are 1200 ARP with Alton kits. They're bad, but they played a bunch.
But they played enough to unlock the kit.
And then there are gods that just played the last few games leveling up something low level. So what it should be is it should just be based on your skill level.
Yeah.
And the gear, I don't know. I talk
agree.
about this so much. I don't even know.
Need unranked. That's where you level stuff, right? In Apex Legends, you would never go in a ranked mode. You would, if you were like Diamond or Platinum, I don't even know what the stupid ranks are, and you were going for Apex Predator, you'd never go in if you already had a high elo with a champion you've never played before. You'd go to pubs and you'd learn that champion, and you'd be like, maybe I want to do this and use this champion to rank up to whatever, right? Yeah. It's like, it's insanity. Just open unranked, because then if you don't have anything to lose, I'm not saying that that's the perfect solution, because like you said, the gear and the skill, how those things match together, and how Tarkov does their kits and how it does their gear and the balancing of them. But I'm saying the easiest thing in the world is just open unranked, because then you're making the choice. You're saying, I'm going to go into ranked, so I'm going to use my good kit. I want to unlock another tree, I'm going to go into unranked. And at least now you're just in control. You're saying, I'm going to go into ranked, I'm going to use my best kit, because I'm not sure the skill level, the ARP, or the gear score of the person I'm going against, so I'm going to use the kit that I'm most comfortable using. Bada bing! Why? And then if you're an unranked and you have nothing to lose, then once again, there are still issues to solve about creating a more fun experience, but at least you could go grind out your kits and not be losing your rank. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know.
See, I don't even think that like people are upset about losing their rank. They're upset about being against people with better
a consistent
gear.
experience. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah, it's complicated. I actually had like a bunch more mega nuanced points about this, explaining why the current system is so bad. I literally have talked about it so much, it's out of my brain. I can't even formulate the thoughts. The problem is that there aren't enough people, mixed with the balancing is hot garbage.
Yeah.
And the design of all of the presets is basically hot garbage.
Yeah.
So many of them are just dog water.
Yeah.
And then so many other ones are just brainless. You just hold W and hold mouse 1 and you win.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that that's why they're losing. And for a lot of people, that is why they're losing.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they're just getting stomped by better players who also happen to have better gear.
Yeah.
If there are people who, if you gave them an Alton and you put them against some of the people they're playing against who has a Mosin and no armor, they will get wrecked by the dude with the Mosin and no armor because they'll the gear diff, in my opinion, becomes magnified the higher in skill you get.
Yeah.
If you put I don't need to come up with an example. That stands for itself. The better you get, we saw this when we were playing on like day 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And we were all on like level 2. Actually, I think I had like decided to go from one class to another. I was leveling up marksman. So, and I went like 0-6 for 10 hours, which is why my KD is like 0.8 now.
Yeah.
Because we were facing Landmark's team, and then the next one was Smitty, and then the next one was we were just facing 5 squads, and they were 3 kits above me.
Yeah.
So, but then those guys, like I remember Landmark faced against I don't remember who else who they were playing, but there was Trey's team who were like 2 kits above them, and they were getting 0-5. They were getting stomped, and all of us could recognize how much the gear mattered a part in that. But I'm not convinced that if you put that a lot of the lower level people, if you gave them Altons, that they would.
That's not an instant win button. The skill is a huge part of it. Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like a lot of times if they're that bad, then their opponents are that bad, then they're almost kind of unkillable because the people can't hit any shots. Yeah. So I don't know. It sucks all around. The problem once again there is the balancing of the gear, and the availability of the options you have and everything. To build that into the matchmaking just doesn't make sense. But I'm not articulating why, because I can't remember.
I agree though. I just don't think it's going to be a solution. Yes, going back to the solution that they put in, I don't think that's going to be a solution. I'm hoping that by the time I get back to it, everybody's high enough ARP that I'm fighting people that are actually my skill level.
Well, so you haven't played Arena since this happened.
No.
Your first game, you're going to be against a bunch of dudes they're wearing paper bags on their heads and they're shooting you with like rubber band launchers.
Yeah.
Because you don't. I think this is what I've seen, and I haven't had anybody to go against this. And this was my assumption, was that they didn't like pre-cache what you spent beforehand.
Oh, interesting.
So it doesn't know what so it put me against a bunch of like D-minuses.
Yeah.
And I went like 17-2 for like the first couple games. I was just on kids.
Yeah.
And I had my previously underpowered M80 RSAS kit that had like up level 4 armor or whatever, that was underpowered against everybody else I was playing against.
And then
so a bunch of people are still, which goes to show you some of the problems of the assumptions of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's just guessing.
It is just guessing.
There's going to be so many more examples where you're going to get matched up against somebody who's going to have way better than you.
Yeah.
Because they would have had other that they used before that they switched to. So the game is just guessing. And before, it was kind of like it wasn't guessing. It just wasn't taking it into account. So it was a coin flip then. Now it's a coin flip.
It's weird. It's weird. It was like I read it and I was like, I'm glad that this is an admission that the system isn't good, but I don't think this is a good replacement system. You know what I mean? It was like, at least they're on it, but this can't be like a long-term solution.
No. And it seems like the money situation is a little bit better.
Oh yeah, that was
Because
much
people were
more.
just going broke.
Yeah, it's much more determined by your performance, right? Like they increased the money. Oh no, that's XP. They increased the XP for, you're right. The money, I think the money they just blanket increased, which was nice. But the XP, they reduced the amount of XP you get slightly for a win, but they increased the amount of XP you get for every action, for a kill, for a headshot, for a shutout. And so you can like
lose and get like 5,000.
Exactly, which you couldn't get more than like 3K on a loss. Yeah, so that was cool. That was a good change. That and the money. What I read in the patch notes for the XP and the money were both good changes.
Yeah, and they also there was a game that, I don't know, maybe I got like 11 kills in or something. I made like 370K or something, which was
what?
Yeah, it was
the
like
most
a lot.
I had ever seen was 200.
I'm like over 7 mil. No, they did also give everybody 1 mil or 1.5 mil. They just like gave it as a part of like the
I saw that. Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, overall, I think it's a little bit better. It's a little bit more balanced. The progression system sucks. The whole thing, it's always going to be a problem. And I won't harp on exactly why, but
no, but I feel I'm really excited about Arena. I'm super into Tarkov right now and this wipe and consuming it, and I'm going to create a lot of content for it. But like, I'm so excited that I have this in the back of my head that I'm super excited to go. Like, I don't know if it's a week from now or 2 weeks from now or a month from now, but like, we said it. I mean, we talked about it last week on the podcast. Some of the most fun I'd had playing in the Escape from Tarkov universe ever was the first day or two of Arena. Like, it had so much potential. It's so much fun. So I'm glad they're making changes. I was surprised and delighted that they brought some of these huge features to Arena that quickly. And I really hope they continue to flesh it out, because like, I am so excited to go back and play more of it. You know what I mean? I'm just like,
I'm excited for more people to come back, because I hate
Tarkov.
No, I mean,
no, I know what you mean.
Waiting in queue.
No, for sure.
I want to play when I'm playing Arena. I want to play.
Yeah.
And here's the downside. The only way I can play now is by queuing with 5-man squads, and the only 5-man squads are average viewers that are potentially 1,000 or 1,500 elo lower than me.
Yeah.
And because of how bad the elo system is, like we talked about, I'm just going plus 25, plus 25, plus 25, plus 20. So I'm at some point, I might even already be above my skill level.
Yeah. Because the system is so bad that you can very easily, and not even intentionally, just blow past your proper rating, because the only way for you to sit down for 8 hours and actually play more than 3 matches is to invite your viewers in to play with you, which brings down the average elo of the squad, and then XYZ, and it's like, it's scuffed.
It's definitely not who the leader is. It's definitely not, because I was
okay.
It definitely is taking into account, and it was before this patch too. It definitely was taking into account like everybody. Because, I'm facing a ton of Timmies, on their on like the Vepr Hunter builds,
even
like,
when you're a leader.
like, now there are also the D- that have the Alton kits, and they're bots. They're very bad. It's crazy how a D+ to C, the dudes with the Altons, and this is where the gear diff, it matters, but it doesn't matter. When I face against Landmark and he's got an Alton, I'm not killing him.
Yeah.
When I face against someone at my level or below with an Alton, maybe not at my level, but slightly below me and infinitely down, your Alton ain't gonna help you.
Yeah.
Because your reaction time is too slow, and I can now, with the new recoil, I can put 3 shots in your helmet while you're running before you're able to one-tap me. It's like, so your gear don't matter. And that's where now Tarkov lets you be more. You have more agency over your, whereas before, when there's a lot of recoil and whatever, then I probably would be dying to some of these worse players with better gear. Which would feel great for them, but
not very rewarding to want to continue playing the game.
Like, they have training wheels and they think they can ride a bicycle. Well,
yeah. So I don't know. So I mean, I hope I hope it continues to improve. But yeah, man. We're a little over 2.5 hours. I think that's the stuff. That's what's going on. Drops is happening, which I was told this. I'm not 100% sure, but apparently they said that you're chill to play arena in the Escape from Tarkov category.
Then what?
To get drops.
I wanted to do that and I felt bad.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
I didn't hear it, but Valian or someone we were playing with today, I think Valian or maybe a mod, someone I trusted said that. And I was like, that's cool. So
yeah, because I want to play arena.
So maybe seek that clarification or just go for it. I think just go for it, honestly. But yeah, apparently it was said that you can that you can play Tarkov just play arena in the Tarkov category and get drops. So, but yeah, anyways, drops is happening. Stick around. I think I'm the 1st and the 5th. I didn't check your dates.
I'm the 1st and the 6th.
Okay. Oh, you know what it was? I think we're on opposite shifts on the 1st. Because I found I was on the 1st, and then I was like, who else am I with? And I didn't see anybody I know. So we might be on opposite shifts on the 1st. Anyways, we'll see. Drops, it's here. Get your stuff. My legendary drop was the Paratus backpack, which was the worst backpack in the game, and I immediately surrendered it. So I don't know how I don't know how they're gonna be. But the overall TLDR is fat, girthy, veiny W of a wipe. I hope they continue to get over all the issues with whatever it was, getting people in, the stability of the wipe. But it's so good, and it's so fun, and getting through the stupid quests. This is like potentially the most fun Tarkov's been in, dude, honestly, maybe ever. I don't know. So, yep, that's it. Thank you guys for hanging. If you want more content like this, patreon.com/thepodcastpod. Our Patreon's pretty sick. We record some
our fucking YouTube,
some PP over there. Oh yeah, subscribe to YouTube.
We never ask people to sub to the YouTube. We do busting out mega shorts all the time.
Yeah.
Interact with the shorts, comment on them, like them, say how good Jesse looks. You like I think that there's like ways to like rate podcasts on like iTunes.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like maybe do that. I think that matters. I've heard a lot that matters.
We're such bad podcasters.
Help us, please. Please.
I got kids.
Yeah, I got kids.
But thank you guys for hanging. Thank you for being here. And thank you for the support. You guys are the best. And we'll definitely see y'all on the next one.
Peace.